Hello, chat. I hope you can hear us. This is Magic Fish Radio. We do tabletop RPG streams on Tuesdays and Saturday nights. Tonight it's indie game night, and Merc is going to run a one-shot for us, which is great because the snow in New York is stopped, and the weather patterns are crushing my brain. So, if you have any questions about anything that's happening, follow us on Twitter or Discord. Now it's Merc. Merc's turn. Go, Merc.
Alrighty. Yes, I'm Mark. Tonight I will be the conductor for this particular crazy train because tonight, so you can create your own conductors for Cerebos, but we've chosen to use one of the pre-generated ones. The last two times we've played this, we've used the adventure conductor, but tonight we're using the all ages fairy tale. I'll be your conductor, Caddy Wumpus. Cerebos is an indie game I kickstarted, and it's basically a bunch of characters in search of an exit. All the characters will be on a train traveling through a desert towards the crystal city of Cerebos. It's the journey, not the destination, that really matters. Along the way, each character will figure out why they're going to Cerebos because one of the other players will give them a secret goal, and they have to figure out what that goal is and try and get themselves ready to achieve it in Cerebos on their way. They do this by releasing touchstones, which are items they carried with them that are significant to them in some way, and having flashbacks. On the second leg of the journey, we'll also have the other players try and give the person who's going to Cerebos reasons to go, reasons to stay. So to start our journey, each one of the players is going to give the next one of them a secret goal. So Chris is going to give one to Drac. Drac's going to give one to Zardoz. Zardoz's going to give one to Chris. They're going to PM them to me. I will write them down. I will show them, and when it is each character's time, they will close their eyes because the player whose goal is doesn't know what the goal is. That's part of the journey. Whenever we have to do other things, we will. So you can release touchstones. You can interact with events or stops. There are many places on the road to Cerebos, and many things you can do. In the base version of the rules, Cerebos takes about between 6 and 8 hours to play. We've done some rather heavy editing to get this into one session. So it takes 2 flashbacks for any one person to start the second leg of the journey. Each stop will only take 1 turn. Each event will end after 3 turns, whether or not anyone's interacted with it. I think, yeah, and the second leg will consist largely of the revelations that the saints or demons share with the seeker. The seeker is the person who will make it to Cerebos. For the saints and demons, it turns out that Cerebos wasn't their end destination, and whatever they're looking for isn't going to be there. Saints try and have the seeker keep hold of their past, but if you hold on to who you were, you might not become who you could be. Whereas demons will try and make the seeker let go of the past, which can be dangerous because if you forget who you are, you might not be able to fulfill your potential. Because we've chosen the all ages fairy tale at the end of the session this time, when everyone makes their ending of their epilogue roll for what happens to them after the train arrives at Cerebos, they will narrate themselves what happens and try and figure out for their own personal selves, what Cerebos means to them, whether or not what they're looking for is here. And then if they so choose, they may re-roll 1 die after they narrate everything.
Oh, chat, our channel points reflect this one-shot game system, which we've played before. So luckily we had them preloaded, and this time you can So you can buy player rerolls, you can grant players keepsakes, which we'll get into later, and you can still do custom NPC drops because, well, those work pretty well with an ongoing train full of weirdos. So have fun.
Yep, our characters are not the only people on the train.
Or people to melt.
People might be a strong word for some of them. All right, so
Setting our my alarm for our break in about 90 minutes.
okay,
Or earlier if we come to a convenient stopping point.
okay. I'll have each one of you introduce your character by giving their name / title and a brief physical description, and then we'll assign secret objectives to people. That sounds good. Who wants to go first?
I guess I do, since... Yeah, okay, fine.
Okay.
Love the enthusiasm on this channel. It's a rough week. Ugh. Yeah, I found a book titled Random Generator and came up with the Dark Spear. And I say, WYSIWYG. She's a, kind of spaced out and grumpy person with, you know, a backpack, and dark purple lipstick. And that's what I'm rolling with today.
Okie dokie. Dracus?
Today I will be playing the Bearer of the Curse. It's very punny. The curse is bear related, in case you didn't gather that.
Bear stab, bear stab, bear stab, bear stab, bear stab, bear stab.
I've been reading Icelandic sagas. Anyway, the Bearer of the Curse is a, like, ridiculously tall warrior guy, and you're like, that's a warrior guy when you look at him.
Is he wearing armor or any kind of, or is he just wearing like a hoodie or whatever?
It's just a hoodie. Like, he's trying to be incognito, but there's no hiding the true nature of that guy.
Okay.
Is your hoodie a wolf head?
Maybe.
Okay, just checking.
One of those ones you can buy from Hot Topic where you can pull it up and it's a wolf head or whatever.
Yeah.
Zardoz.
I am playing the Black Sword. The Black Sword is... Oh, he's probably 6.5 feet tall. He's nowhere near as big as the Bearer of the Curse. He's not built the same way either. He's got welding goggles that appear to just be permanently attached to his head. Like, there's a band where you can tell he's had it up here while he was welding before, and it's just sort of etched into his skin at that point from just the amount of the time he's had it on there. He's wearing pretty simple clothing. He doesn't look like he's trying to make a fuss. He is armed. He does have a gun under his coat. It's probably a gun. You don't know. You haven't got close enough to take a look at it.
Okay. Okay. So now we all know each other's characters to some point. Let's assign secret goals. Just direct message them to me, and I will write them down, and then we will tell whoever's character it is to cover their eyes while we show the other player and chat what the secret goal is.
Now, who is giving who a goal? Just one more time for edification.
Okay. Chris is giving one to Drac. Drac is giving one to Zardoz. And Zardoz is giving one to Chris.
Okay.
Hello, Kitty Obsessed. You are about to be in for a real treat. Because you're going to know things at least one thing about each player that they don't know about themselves. So,
Oh, just in case it wasn't already said, chat, please don't talk about our character goals in chat, because we're not supposed to know our own goals. So,
and most of us are watching chat.
yeah. Arcana stage. I hear conductor, and I'm thinking they're going to be in for a lightning round. Based on the system hacks, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Our first time playing this took
2 sessions.
2 sessions and could have actually gone for longer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oof. So this is a one-shot game, but not necessarily a 3-hour one-shot game. This is like an all-day roleplay banquet.
Yes.
Where there's both the GM playing off the players, but also the players are making up stuff for other players, and it's interesting. Whew. But yeah, remember you can buy stuff for us, channel points, player rerolls, player keepsakes, and custom NPCs for the GM to drop in our way on the train. There are no GM rerolls because the GM does not roll.
Correct. I'm just here to keep things on rails.
Lol. Rails.
When railroading is the point of the game.
What is this, Monopoly?
Okay. I apologize for my handwriting. I am not the best calligrapher.
I didn't recall calligrapher being part of the job description. It was not expected that you have good handwriting.
Well, when you're showing it on stream, you probably should. But anyway, okay. So, Chris, cover your eyes. Everybody got it?
Yep.
All right. Chris, you can have him cover your eyes.
All right.
Zardoz, cover your eyes.
Okay.
Everybody got it?
No.
Okay.
That's kind of the point.
Drac, cover your eyes. Come on, focus.
The struggle.
All right. Everybody got it? All righty. Everybody uncover their eyes. Everybody but you knows your secret goals. So, to begin with, okay, sorry. All right, so we're in an all ages fairy tale. Gather round, children. All right, so our story starts in the middle of the forest because that's where naturally all good fairy tales start. You're on a platform. It's a platform made of nice wood, and it's shaded by large mushrooms. You know, the kind with the lovely red caps that every kid draws. You're not the only passengers on the platform. There's so many others. You know, most of them aren't terribly human. There are some bears in, you know, bears in waistcoats and wolves who are carrying leather bag satchels in their mouths and a few other people, of course. In near the front of the train, we see a very tall man entering the train car. He's got on goggles, which isn't unusual. The badger beside him also has goggles on, but they don't seem to be holding much of a conversation, and I'm all fucking blurry.
It adds the vibe. Keep
Sorry.
going.
Arg. I'll fix it later. Near the middle of the train, we see another tall man. He walks in alone, and everybody around him gives him a wide berth. It seems like, even the predators wouldn't want to mess with this guy. He's got on a nice hoodie, but none of it conceals how big the muscles on his arms are, or the fact that he's walking, in that perfectly balanced fashion that only people who have extensive martial arts training can manage. And then near the back of the car, we find a grumpy-looking woman with purple lipstick on, carrying a knapsack. She's waiting to get on behind a bunch of, they look sort of like monkeys, but they're not monkeys exactly because they don't have any tails. Sorry, I'm getting over something. They're taking a long time to get on because they're having a conversation with each other. It sounds like a lot of chattering, and she's just, the longer she stands there, the more irritated she looks on her face. But eventually everybody gets on, and the train takes off. The forest platform by the sea, because the sea was there for some reason, gives way very soon to a wide desert. The desert is, of course, all the wonderful colors that a desert can be. Think of all the stripy sand dunes and the wonderful colors of a Dr. Seussable. As the train moves, it puffs out, the engine puffs out perfectly symmetrical puffs of smoke as it goes along. And if one of the players could roll me 2d6, please. Don't add them together, just give me them one at a time.
A 4 and a 6.
Okay, so...
That's right, we only need 2d6s in dice.
So, as the train pulls away and you look out onto this painted desert, you see something on the horizon following the train. It sways with the rhythm of footfalls. Closer examination reveals it to be a very tall hat. With no wind to knock them over, they come exceptionally large down here. But who is wearing it, and why can't the train leave them behind? Okay.
Is it just a hat, or is it someone wearing a hat, or we're not sure?
You're not sure. All you see is the top of the head at this point. It's the event that starts off this entire encounter. So, and with that, I start going down the train because I am the conductor, Caddy Wumpus. I am a particularly large specimen of a Wumpus, so it does take me a bit to fit through the doors to the trains. But I get there eventually. I've got tea and I've got cakes. And it's going to be a lovely time.
Question, is the Wumpus another type of land-dwelling squid, or is the Wumpus wearing a squid?
The Wumpus is wearing a squid.
Okay. Like, are they related
he seems to be using it to write on his notepad.
Handy.
Also, for the question earlier in chat, yes, I did in fact make the squid.
Yes, it is an excellent hat. My goodness, I love that hat. That is the only thing keeping me going right now.
All right. So, as we start, the turn starts with whoever likes to start, and then just kind of popcorns from there. You may use any train action, and you can do any event actions. So train actions are, you can stop the train, which will make the next turn happen at a stop. If you stop the train, the event will end right there, even though it hasn't lasted the full 3 turns. because that's one of the changes we've made. Events would normally last until somebody, until the danger is 0, but we don't have time for that, so they'll end after 3 turns, regardless of if anybody's missed them or not. You can provoke a flashback in somebody else. You can experience a shared flashback with somebody. You can release a touchstone. You can share a meal with a traveler or with any of the other people on the train. People being a strong word for this train. Or use a conductor power. The conductor powers for this conductor are, why do you even have that car? And tea and dough cakes, which can be used only once between each stop. To interact with the event, you can engage the event to try and lower the danger of the event. If the danger lowers to 0, the event ends, and you get a keepsake. For anybody who interacted with the event at any point when the event ends, they will get a keepsake. And I think that's it. Each flashback would center on one of their touchstones, which is one of the 3 items they brought with them on the train.
When you get a chance, like during one of our player scenes, could you post the lists of actions in the Discord again?
Yeah, that was a lot more than I could write down or remember.
The only thing I can remember for sure is that I really want to do the conductor power. Why do you even have that car?
Okay. So
that one's on the Discord. Awesome.
So okay. So go ahead and decide who wants to go first while I write these down. Sorry.
I'll go first if it means I can use that train conductor power.
Okay.
Because I want to see how it works.
Okay, give me a second while I write this stuff down. Sorry for my clicky-clacky keyboard, but I love my clicky-clacky keyboard. I will never let it go.
The clicky-clacky keyboard is delightful. You should never let it go. I have a clicky-clacky keyboard at home, but I don't have room for it on this desk, so I don't have it here.
Okay. All right, there we go. That's the list of all the train actions you can do. Okay.
Oh, okay.
We come to a stop. There's a different list of stop actions that you can take part in. Okay. So for this particular conductor power, you explore the train with at least 1 additional traveler. Discover a new car that serves an unexpected function or contains a unique passenger. The explorers share a keepsake that has a rank 1 trait related to the car's contents. One or the other of the players may use that trait at some point in the future, at which point it will reduce 1 level. Remember, sharing can be difficult, but rewarding. So, if you are using the conductor power, you must share it with somebody, but it does not consume their turn to do so.
Okay, so I have to pick up one of the other players to go exploring.
Yes.
Okay. I dare say the grumpy spear will see the bearer of the curse and be non-pleasant, like, hey, do you want to go get coffee?
Yes, coffee sounds fantastic.
So, okay, let's go looking for coffee. And so we start walking through the train car looking for coffee.
Okay. So to get to the bearer of the curse's car, you had to go through several to get there, because you were near the end of the train and he was in the middle. So you'd actually pass through several passenger cars, and you figure that since you were near the end of the train and like the cars you passed were just passenger cars, although their passengers were not people you'd really expect, considering that True. I mean, you did get onto the train from a forest platform that you don't really remember getting to. Like, you were in the city by the sea before this. It's kind of weird, but not unpleasant. Nobody grumps at you or anything like that. They're all, just chatting with each other. The chimps are annoying because they were literally chattering at each other and you couldn't understand what they were saying. And also it was kind of high-pitched. But everybody else seems to be, having their quiet conversations on the train at a nice train level to keep it cool with the other passengers. But so you're like, okay, so you two meet up and you're like, hey, you want to get coffee? And so when the bearer of the curse agrees, you both head further up the train. And the very next car you step into, it is not a passenger car. For one thing, you take one step and you sink almost up to your ankles into the spongy stuff the floor is made of. It's not unpleasant. It feels nice around your feet, actually, but it's very plush. The floor is this kind of soft off-white, and the walls look like they're made of the same stuff. When you go over to touch it, yeah, you leave a handprint on the wall for a couple seconds before it, releases back into its previous shape. And it looks like this car is filled with people who are sleeping. Like, this is almost 4 times as long as the other passenger cars you encountered before. And there are just various people. Some of them are human, actually, just, stretched full out on this soft and spongy surface. And they are just completely out, like dead to the world, sleeping. You can see some who probably would be snoring, but the soft material seems to have a deadening effect on the noise. So it's not like super hard buzzsaw noises. It's just, it just honestly sounds like you're pretty basic. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Every cartoon ever.
Basically, everything's made of memory foam. And since we're standing, we're sinking into it. Since they're laying down, the body weight distribution means they don't sink in completely.
They don't sink in quite as far as you guys are.
Asked me about the time my parents thought a mattress entirely made of memory foam was a good idea. Oh, that was not comfortable. But okay, so
this is most unusual.
You have found the nap car.
The nap car. The marshmallow nap car.
And indeed, the conductor is walking down it. He's not taking tickets or anything like that. He's just making sure that everybody's got, if everybody has a blanket or is thrown off at some point, he tucks them back in very nicely. If everybody looks too warm, he pulls, he makes sure that they don't get too hot by either swapping their blanket for something lighter or pulling it off them, making sure everybody's having a good time. Which is really weird because a wumpus is an 8-foot tall, vaguely elephant-like thing, very stumpy fingers, and just is like an elephant with no nose and small ears. It's very weird to see. The wumpus is a very weird creature, especially because this one's got a squid on their head. Mm-hmm. Well, hello there, he says, and when he gets close enough, and it's closer than you'd think, because once again, the sound deadening effects mean that he has to, keeping his voice down isn't quite as hard, but it's also, he has to get closer to you for him to keep it at a nice level. Make sure he wakes up.
I don't want to wake up the napping people.
Sorry. Dang it.
Don't die, Merc.
If the coughing could stop, I'd be great. That's literally the last of it. Anyway. Well, hello there. Welcome to the nap car. Would you care to have a nap?
I mean,
we were on a quest for coffee. I do not have to look up at most people.
Oh, that's all right. You won't find anything that keeps people awake in this car. What you're searching for is further on, but if you'd like a nap, I can set you up with this. And he pulls out a very lovely and the softest blanket you ever felt in your life. This is such a wonderfully soft and fuzzy blanket.
Oh, okay. I mean, I haven't had coffee yet, so I could take a nap.
All right, so you're going to lay down with the blanket. So you lay down with the blanket, and the bearer of the curse, you have the option to either join in the nap or continue onward looking for coffee.
I will stand guard while you take a nap. Immediately falls asleep.
Leaning against the wall, so like you're still on a soft surface.
Yeah.
Like you lean against the wall, assuming guard position, and then just
superpowers. Sleep standing up.
So the keepsake you'll both share is the wonderfully soft and fuzzy blanket that the wumpus gave you. Decide between yourselves what the trait should be on it.
should the soft, comfy blanket trait be... should it just be comfort?
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Woo! I'm not really taking a nap, I'm just role-playing, I swear. Oh, is that a picture of a cat?
It's the hunted wampus from MTG. So a wampus, but more Susic. The catty wampus looks more Susical.
The cattywampus is more its like austere, genteel, citified cousin.
Basically, just more kid friendly, because this is an all ages fairy tale.
That thing is terrifying.
I feel like
that's.
Whew.
I feel like an all ages fairy tale implies that it's inclusive of adults.
Fair, yes.
Boy, is that going to be a fun card to find.
Anyway.
So the cattywampus is rather scary but nicer. So okay.
Yep, and also
it has a squid on their head.
And the squid on their head, and they also bipedal, not quadrupedal like that one is. An important distinction. But anyway, so the dark spear used a conductor power. What would the bearer of the curse and/or the black sword like to do?
I will interact and.
Okay. So the event is
Giant hat.
a giant hat. Yes, it is a Danger 3 event.
Oh, good.
The hat.
The hat. Okay.
The most feared token in Monopoly.
So the hat is swaying side to side behind the train. Like, you still can't see the bottom of it, but it is definitely a hat. I mean, it looks like a large, like one of the big stovepipe hats, the top of a stovepipe hat. Just kind of swaying back and forth like someone's walking underneath it, like the way hats do when you take a step.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming up behind the train. It's still a fair distance off because you can't see the bottom, but it's there. How are you going to interact with it?
Hatricide.
I'm going to pull out unkindness from the caboose of the train, and I'm going to aim 3 feet below the bottom of the hat where I can see it and shoot the hat.
Okay. So you walk down the train, and you find that you also see the nap car, and as you walk through, you do see the guy fast asleep standing up next to a woman wearing purple lipstick who is asleep underneath a very soft looking blanket. Your feet also sink in fairly deeply into the floor. But you go through down to the caboose. Sorry. And
Just ignoring the nap.
Okay.
We got work to do. Things have to be done.
You walk down to the end of the train. You get to the caboose and you see there's no more cars after this. It's you're basically standard caboose. There seems to be a setup for the conductor in this caboose where it's a table with an entire tea set on it, which isn't rattling despite the fact that the train is definitely moving. A lovely plate of cookies and a basket of scones rest on the table as well. But you ignore all that and you take a step out onto the back of the caboose, where the little widow's walk kind of balcony thing is on every caboose ever. At least it is in the All Ages fairy tale. And you pull out your unkindness and you take aim and roll it.
I rolled an 11.
That is an exceptional success. Sorry.
Take that, whatever you are.
So, inspired success. Incredible. You approach the problem with the synthesis between who you once were and who you're becoming. As a result, the danger decreases by 2. So, whoever you were is apparently a person with a gun. And your solution, you know, maybe your solution always has been to shoot things. Maybe your solution in the future is to shoot more things. But sorry. It is definitely a solution now. And as you take aim and fire, the gun kicks in your hand, and the hat trembles and wobbles and becomes shorter for some reason. Much shorter. You still can't see the bottom, but it is definitely much shorter than it was before. And it's still making that walking motion behind the train.
Reloading.
So you've entered the event is now a Danger 1 event. And the Bearer of the Curse. What are you going to do for this turn?
I want to provoke a flashback for the Dark Spear as she is sleeping and dreaming of the past.
Okay. What item of hers are you going to provoke it on?
I think the sturdy scissors.
Okay. So, before you fell asleep, you know, the one person moved to tuck her in, but you're like, no, it is my job as the guard to do so. So you trying to tuck her in, and in doing so, you shifted the scissors in her pocket, and as she dreams, industrious. Okay. Look at a couple things for a second. Make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. And as she dreams, the camera pulls back out from the nap car and away from the train and up into the clouds, and then begins to zoom back in on a relatively small cobblestone street in a large city. The shops here look as if they've been in place for hundreds of years. You can't tell if the cobblestones have been in place for as long or if it's actually just that age of a city. The shop is small. The sign above the entryway is well worn. The pithy needle repair underneath is a subheading. Repairs, tailoring, new garments at cost. And the shop front is glass windows. On display are a number of carefully positioned pieces of clothing. Some of them are more faded than others, as if they've been in the window for longer. The windows themselves are a little dusty from the inside. Not that you can't see through it, but definitely enough to lend a gray cast to everything. There's a bell above the door, and it rings as it opens. Inside, we find the Dark Spear sitting at the counter. Once again, the shop looks like it could have been in place for hundreds of years, or at least like it hasn't changed in a very long time. Whether or not that's because it has been, or because it's simply, that kind of place, once again, it's hard to tell. The scissors themselves have caught the reflection of a light, one of the dusty sunbeams that comes in through the front and makes its way past the clothing hung there to display the skill of the people inside. And that's where we find the Dark Spear.
What was the name of the store again?
The Pithy Needle.
Pithy
Needle. Yes. Let me bring up stops real fast. Flashbacks. Started actions. Flashbacks. Here we go. Flashbacks reveal travelers' lives from before they left the city by the sea. Every traveler participating in a flashback is anchored by a key touchstone. The key touchstone may no longer be in the traveler's possession, but the flashback should nevertheless reveal something about its importance to the traveler. Each flashback is a short scene that guides the traveler towards who they were and who they hope to become on their journey to Cerebos. Flashback works best as a conversation between several players and the GM if applicable. Each player contributes characters, situations, or the details on the scene based on what they know about the travelers. So, Bearer of the Curse. It's a small shop on a small street in the city by the sea. The windows are dusty. The clothing hung in the windows is Some of it is more faded than others, like it's been replaced recently. And the sturdy scissors are sitting on the counter, reflecting the light that comes in through the front. Why are we looking at this scene?
Looking at the scene because this was a moment where the Dark Spear in her youth had a discussion with her employer where she felt that she was being unfairly treated over her level of industry, that she is making a lot of stuff and not getting the credit she is due. And this is the moment she stands up for herself over that.
Okay. Black Sword. What does the owner look like? The person she's arguing with.
He's probably middle-aged. Male. Light skin, gray hair, glasses. He's a very deft hand with a pair of scissors and a needle, but his hands have started to shake, so he's nowhere near as capable as he used to be. So he's needed to pick up extra help, and that's why the Dark Spear is here.
Okay. So yeah, the you're standing behind the counter, and behind you, a little off the side, is the owner of the store. He is a gray, middle-haired gentleman, a little on the portly side. Has a permanent squint from long hours worked, working on very small things. He's been known throughout the city for his fine stitch work and sorry, and beaded embroidery. But in more recent years, the quality of work has declined as his hands have begun to shake. He brought you into the store nearly 3 years ago. You had known some sewing because it's good to know sewing, but he took your skill up to the next level. And as the last 3 years went by, you've taken more and more work, not even just the basic work of, just adjusting a hem or tucking a sleeve or whatever, but some of the fine work too, like embroidery and beadwork, as his hands have failed.
So, I appreciate the opportunities you've given me, but I can't continue to work here at these wages, especially when I'm starting to take over more and more of the day-to-day work.
Back in my day, youths were grateful for any skills they got. You didn't know anything when I brought you on, and I've taught you everything, and this is how you repay me.
No, I knew how to sew already. You helped me, sew better, but it's, does that mean I have to work as an indentured servant forever?
What nonsense is this? It's plenty. I pay you plenty enough for a. Dang it! Sorry. I pay you enough for a good place to live and enough to to be getting on with. Side note, the amount he pays you would be enough to live on and get on with when he was your age.
Yeah, your pay rate has not taken into account 40 years of inflation, sir. So
Nonsense.
I can afford half of a nice place to live and half of my groceries.
Nonsense. You're just being cheated by the storekeepers. I can show you how to get a good deal, and you can certainly live on what I'm paying you.
Okay, so the irony here is if I do go off to find other employment, how are you going to pick up the excess workload?
Well, the same way I found you, I suppose. I mean, I'm sure there's no shortage of young people in this city looking for a good profession. Why, any of them would be grateful to have your job. Dang it.
Okay, then.
Sorry.
So if you don't start paying me by the garment instead of by the day, since now I take on more of the garment work per day than when I started, I'm gonna have to find another shop to work at.
Or
go freelance.
So, bearer of the curse, what is the outcome?
The outcome is that the Dark Spear does have to go find new work, and she's very successful at it for a while. And the shopkeeper realizes that he did have skill in this person he had trained, and that any one of those people that would love to have her job were not as skilled as she was.
Natural talent, motherfucker.
Black Sword, where did she end up working?
She ends up working at a design house for a while. It's very high pressure. There's a lot of push to get the newest and the neatest thing out, and that eventually causes more problems. But that's not for this flashback.
Fair enough.
Do they at least pay better?
But yes, they do pay commensurate to the work that they do.
Nice.
Well, I'll have you know that. Sorry. I'm not going to be tolerating any of this ingratitude. You can't leave because I'm going to fire you. I swear. Youth these days. Take your last day's wages and the equipment I gave you. I provided this equipment for you. But still, I'm not an ungracious not host, what's the word?
Employer.
Employer, thank you. I'm not an ungracious employer. I will let you take the tools of your trade. And I hope that you learn how lucky you were to have worked at my shop.
Oh, cool. So I can collect unemployment now. Okay, bye.
So you do. You take your scissors
Yep.
and the sewing kit he assembled for you that you have augmented over the years, and your last day's wages, and you leave. And as you walk out of that store, that dusty little store for the last time, the camera pulls away as you walk down that cobblestone street of indeterminate age, back up into the clouds, and then back down into the nap car. And you are here sleeping, and the scissors reflect just a little of the light that comes in through the windows of the nap car. So
Scissors.
you can add a trait to that keystone. I may have told you all the wrong thing in case Chris got it right. Hell. Fuck.
Okay, so do I add a trait now? Because you told me I had to start with 2 traits.
Apparently you should have started with 1 trait. I thought it said anyway. I misread the starting instructions. Yes, go ahead and add a trait. If you don't want to add a trait, or if you already have 2 traits, I'm sorry, I didn't read the rules right. That's on me. And if you already have 2 traits, take 4 points to distribute among those traits.
I'll also add a new trait.
Okay.
Industrious. Can the trait be girl boss? I saw someone mention that. Girl boss.
What do the players think? Sound good?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All
Girl
right.
boss. And each of my starting traits has a 1 next to it.
So each of your traits had a 1. The new trait starts at rank 2, and then you get 2 more points to distribute between the traits on that item.
Okay, 2 more points.
Yes, so
okay,
you can be like 2 and 3, or 4 and 1, or 3 and 2. You know, however you want to distribute it out.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. So that's 1 full turn. We are now at the top of a new round. Who would like to go first? Also, the Dark Spear has 1 flashback.
I will engage with the event again to see if we can get this problem solved.
Okay. So
The hat!
the oncoming hat that is now significantly shorter than it was before. It's really weird. I mean,
Yeah.
even for this painted desert Seussical almost landscape, it's kind of weird. And like, it's a vast and empty desert, and yeah, it's hot and dusty, and there's not a lot of sand everywhere. It's more dust than sand. But the wind is blowing. And the hat is back there, swaying back and forth like someone's walking after the train.
Well, we can't have that.
Hmm.
Unkindness will be utilized again to shoot this thing.
Okay, shoot the thing.
10.
Okay, so that is a success. Give me a second. Trait checks, yes. Success. Nothing fancy here. You did. The danger decreases by 1. Because there's only 1 danger left on the event, the event decreases to 0. The event has ended. So you're back there. You ignoring the temptingly wonderful tray of scones and cookies and a nice pot of tea, and you take aim once again with unkindness. The butt is natural in your hand. Like this was a weapon that was made just for you. It has been fitted, and if anybody else used this, would probably find it uncomfortable because their hand wouldn't fit as well. But to you, it's an extension of your arm. You take aim and you fire once again. You fire once again. You have to adjust your aim because the hat is significantly shorter than it was before. But you adjust your aim, you take aim, and you fire again. And this time, it's like one of those things in anime where, the line cuts through something and then the hat just kind of pops up from whatever it was on. Like you can see the line of the bullet and then the hat just kind of pops up above the line of the bullet on this almost cartoon style action sequence. And the hat pops up like it had gotten flung into the air. It's just a regular sized hat for some reason. Pops up like it was flung into the air and tumbles to land on the balcony of the caboose, the balcony area at the back of the caboose, right beside you, like perfectly brimmed down. There's no, besides the dust that it accumulated on its travel, there doesn't seem to be anything particularly special about this. It is, if you choose to take it, a keepsake. A hat suited for the future to the tune of 1 free trait check reroll. And whatever was wearing it, well, it never came above the horizon, if anything was wearing it at all. But nothing is following the train any longer. The hat's just there. And it's a pretty nice hat. It's a nice, solid, crushed wool top hat. It's not a stovepipe any longer.
Interesting. I will collect the hat.
All right. You have a hat. It's a keepsake. You can re-roll a trait check with it. The whole trait check instead of just 1 die. And there is no event going on currently. So engage event is no longer an optional a thing you can do. So the Dark Spear and the Bearer of the Curse, you are in the nap car, napping.
Oh, unkindness is very loud.
But we're in the nap car napping.
Yes,
Right.
Every sound gets dampened.
Sound gets very dampened, and you're at the back, facing backwards. Like it's very loud, but sound is directional.
Yeah.
So it's not as loud as it could have been in the nap car.
And also, we're effective. He was in the back car, so the train is moving forward, and the sound went in the other direction.
Basically. So, I mean, yes, other passengers on the train definitely heard that. Strangely enough, it didn't rattle the tea set and dishes. Not sure what that's about. But then again, they haven't rattled this entire time, even though the train is definitely in motion. The turn, the as it goes over the rail ties. So yeah, Dark Spear, Bearer of the Curse. You don't have to remain sleeping. Nothing you have to do. Yeah.
I think it might be time to wake up and go find our coffee and maybe have a meal while we're at it.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. So you would like to, the bearer of the curse would like to invoke the share a meal?
Yep.
Alrighty. So sharing a meal. Describe a meal shared by 2 or more travelers. Each participant gains a keepsake from the meal. It provides a one-time reroll of a 1 or as used, the traveler cannot gain another keepsake. Once the traveler has benefited from this action, they cannot benefit again until after the next stop. Oh, God. Come on. Sorry. Okay, so you're going to wake up the Dark Spear, or are you going to go and have a meal by yourself?
I'm going to wake up the Dark Spear. Meals are more fun with other people. That's the way they're meant to be.
Okay.
Okay.
Sleeping with scissors is unsafe. I do not recommend doing so in the future.
How'd you get out of my pocket? I don't care. Okay. She puts it back in her pocket or bag or what have you, and we go back on the quest for coffee.
Okay.
To coffee!
To coffee? Okay.
So, are you going to head up the train or down the train?
How far back are we on the train? Like, it with the dining
You're
car
up.
being-
You are closer to the engine than you are to the back.
Oh, okay.
Well, we came from the back of the train to go
Yes.
find coffee, so we should probably continue toward the front of the train if we have not found coffee yet.
Instead, we found magical nap time car.
Which was very nice.
You find an incongruous car, so that's the incongruous car.
It's a power nap for power.
I will note that the off-white stuff that you're walking on and the walls and honestly the ceiling are made of, it doesn't look like foam. If you were, especially the bearer of the curse, who might be more outdoorsy than perhaps the Dark Spear is, it looks more like mycelium.
So it's a mushroom nap room.
Fuck yeah.
A dirt nap. It's a renewable resource. I
Fair enough.
think. Mycelium are mushrooms, right?
Mycelium is basically the root area of the mushroom. It comprises it's like the iceberg of a mushroom. It like the little fungus caps and stuff you see are just outshoots from the mycelium. Most of which is underground. Anyway, so Bearer of the Curse shakes the Dark Spear awake and makes this loud proclamation, and somehow doesn't wake up anybody else in the nap car. They are all still very asleep.
I might need some coffee in real life.
I'm drinking Mountain Dew.
It's been a week. Oof.
Yeah.
Okay, we march on. I follow the tall dude for coffee.
Okay, so you continue onward up the car, and you continue on through a couple more passenger cars. One of them was the one that the Black Sword came in on, although neither of you know that. Until eventually you reach what is clearly a dining car, except, it's not a diner car like it. The tables are mushrooms. The chairs are slightly shorter mushrooms. There's no counter, but there is an area kind of shaded by wide-leafed vines. Kind of weird for vines, but things behind it rustle and whistle and steam and smell delicious, but you can't see through it. Not even when it shifts. And like when the server comes out of the from behind the leaf partition, like even when they part, you still can't see through them. It's kind of weird. Also, your server is definitely a fawn.
Like Mr. Tumnus fawn or like a bamboo
Mr. Tumnus,
fawn?
yes.
Okay.
But he's not wearing a red scarf. Because it's nice. It's hot. It's the desert,
Hashtag not all fawns. Oh shoot.
What may I get for you today?
We should like some coffee.
Would you like anything else?
Bagels.
Yes.
Yes.
Bagels.
Bagels.
I can do that. Any
Awesome.
heck. Any particular kind of bagel? Nah.
Everything bagel.
I like where your head is at.
I'm not sure where my head is at, but let's roll
Everything
with it.
bagels.
Everything.
Coming right up. And he disappears behind the vine screen. And you sit. The mushrooms are kind of spongy. They're not nearly as soft as the nap car was, which is good because you might fall asleep at the table otherwise. Putting your hands on the table, it seems like there's actually a hard cap on this mushroom. So, like, it's easy to wipe down. It's not anything that'll hold ick, you know? Like soft top tables will. You are not alone in this car. There are a couple more people. One of them has antenna, but is otherwise human. She's sitting with a man who has on long black robes and a black hood over his head. You can't really see his face. They're both drinking tea. They've got a lovely, you can smell the orange zest coming out of the tea. It's orange pico. And they have a basket of scones that they are alternating taking scones out of and eating. And it's not too long before the fawn comes back with a tray, and on it are two mugs of coffee. It's some pretty standard mug. You didn't ask for any kind of special coffee or anything like that. So it's just coffee. It's nice and strong. It is black. There is an entire coffee service set on the tray with it, so he'll set that down too. You know, you got cream, your various creamers, your various sugars, including honey, if you so choose. There's even a little thing of cocoa powder if you'd like to make it a mocha or something like that. And there is he's also got an insulated pot in the other hand that he sets on the table, so you can, refresh your drink as required. And steaming gently is a basket of fresh everything bagels. Like, this is just out of I can't remember if you boil bagels or if you bake them, but
You boil. Kind of both.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I remember they do get boiled at one point. That's why
Yeah.
they've got that shiny outside. But these are clearly fresh from their final baking process. The steam is still coming up off of them, and there is, several discrete containers of like fresh lox and salmon and cream cheese.
Carbs and caffeine is what I need right now.
I tell the waiter that they are my personal hero today.
That's very kind of you, sir. Do you tip him?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you each get a keepsake from this meal. Good for a one-time reroll of a 1 or a 2 when making a trait check. What is the keepsake you take away? And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be an item. It can be like, the memory of your mother's bagels or whatever, or the scent of a fresh, scent of fresh coffee. Something that stays with you for a while at least, that you can use in the future.
Memory of a warm, doughy bagel.
The smell of fresh coffee shared with a friend.
There you go. Good keepsakes. And the dark spear. What would you like to do?
Okay, so that was a shared thing, but I still have to do an action.
Yes, you may choose an action. It does not consume your action because you're not the one who chose it.
Okay.
So you can stop the train, provoke a flashback, experience a shared flashback, release a touchstone. You can't share a meal because you've already had a meal. You can't benefit from this again. Honestly, you're full. Or you can use a conductor power. if you so desire.
Okay. Stop the train means we go to a train stop?
Correct.
Huh. I really need caffeine in real life. I did not have enough today. And barometric pressure is crushing my brain. Let's do provoke a flashback.
Okay. And who are you going to provoke it in?
Bearer of the curse.
Okay. And which of their items are you going to provoke it on?
Let me look at their sheet.
I knew it. Sorry, somebody just informed me that bagels are boiled then baked. And I'm like, yes, I knew boiling happened at some point.
Yes. There's like a water bath when you're looking at like a bagel making like machinery. There is like a water bath. It's been a while.
Sorry, okay.
I have celiac disease, so I don't get to have the good bagels anymore.
So the bearer of the curse has a signet ring, a bear's tooth, and a lighter.
I think this one is about a lighter. Or
Okay.
the lighter.
What does the lighter look like? Bearer of the curse. What does the lighter look like?
It's a like nice metal lighter that is got some worn edges to it.
Okay.
And has a ornate carving that you can't quite make out the meaning of just at a glance.
Okay. So so as you're having your nice meal, the dark spear, you see a this lighter, like the bear of the curse reaches out to take one of the bagels or something, or grab one of the extra smears or whatever, and as they reach out, something glittery falls out of their hoodie pocket. Clunk. Yep. And you, being a polite person, reach down and pick it up and hand it back to them. And what do you ask them about it?
Oh, cool lighter. Where did you get it?
All right. So as you ask that, and as the bear of the curse grabs the lighter, the camera pulls back out of the dining car, back into the clouds, and then we start zooming in on a scene. Where are we, bear of the curse?
We're in a much more remote place than our last flashback. This is a small rural town with a single dirt road running through the center and farms scattered about the open countryside here. In the distance, you think you might see some mushrooms consistent with our starting place.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
I will say that in the distance, you also see the spires of the city by the sea, because technically we all started from there.
Yeah.
So we zoom in on this small idyllic village.
We're in the Spire City metro area.
Basically. So we zoom in on this podunk town. You know, there are a number of buildings along the single dirt road. You know, the store, the bank, the post office, the town hall. We zoom in on the general store. It's, you know, in a podunk town, there isn't much to do except go to the store. You know, whether that store is the giant Buc-ee's in the middle of nowhere, the mall that accumulated at one point and has become largely dead, but it's still the only place to go, or it's the feed store, whatever it is. It's the it's the social point in town. It's where the kids go when they're bored, and they can't, for some reason, go to like the watering hole or any of the other terrifyingly dangerous places that kids do not find terrifying and dangerous, but their parents do, like the junkyard or whatever. And the bearer of the curse is there with a group of other people. Who else is there? Black Sword.
Oh, I think there are 4 or 5 people that would have been Bear of the Curse as childhood friends. Their running crew, as it were. People they got into shit with.
Okay. What kind of shit did they get into, the Dark Spear?
They have sort of become like a wannabe gang of Scooby-Doo but evil. Where they hear like, there's a witch on the edge of town who's opening a coffee shop, we should burn it down. Kind of. Or we should throw rocks through her windows. And stuff like that. Kind of, we think we're heroes because we don't actually know anything about the world enough to understand nuance kind of kids.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you were there at that general store. A new building has come up along. Sorry. So things haven't changed in the town for a very long time. Basically, since there has been a town, there's been the general store, the bank, the town hall, you know, and maybe a couple of other buildings that are for like storage or whatever, or serve as temporary places to do things, dances or whatever. But a new building has sprung up now, near the end of the dirt road closest to the spires of the city. It definitely looks different, distinctly different from all the other buildings. Whoever made it did not want to go with the same, you know, small town motif that everyone else had used because all the other buildings had been built at the same time by about the same people. You know, I mean, there's only so many ways that 4 walls, maybe an extra floor or two, and a roof are going to go on in a place like this. Um, and there's not much, doesn't suffer from needless variation, would be the best way to describe this town. But this place is different. The building itself is, uh, it's made of wood in a lodge style. It's got rock facing the first floor, and the second floor is just bare wood, kind of almost log cabin style. Inside, it is nice, darkly wooded walls. The lights are cast iron chandeliers hung kind of low, and the lights each have a little hat on them. Those shades that scatter instead of making it, bright light, keeping it. It's not like glaring, but it is brighter than you think it would be with all the dark themes going on. The furniture is upholstered in a nice cream. Sorry. And there is a bar area to it. The seats there are dark iron stools with tan poofs on them. And behind the bar is a large steam machine that hisses whenever it is used. What the Hicks don't have a word for it, but everyone else would recognize it as an espresso machine. A big fancy kind with extra steamy bits. Kind of steampunky almost. But you're not there.
Espresso.
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 You are at the general store with your friends. You've all known each other since you were knee-high to a grasshopper, and you've all gone through the same kind of weird training by your parents. You think everybody, lives like this because you all did. So you're all kind of on the beefy side. You're all still in the kind of gangly stage of growing up, but you still got, more muscles than you expect from a teenager of the awkward years.
They're the jock squad.
Well, and I'm the bearer of the curse, even as like a teenager.
So, I mean, unless you don't want to be. I just thought your parents were being weird. So you're there, and you've got a bunch of mates with you. You're all in the awkward teenage years of gangly. and you lived in a small town. The only thing to do is, where nothing ever changes except something did now. And now there is a really very strange coffee shop that everybody in town regards with suspicion, especially because it somehow stays open, even though none of them patronize it. Because God forbid, any kind of new thing is put here without their, stamp of approval, and the person who runs it definitely has not earned that yet. Not among the women who are the basically, the social lions of the town defending their turf from any interlopers. So your mamas, they have discouraged you from going there with many wild tales, and like y'all are the older siblings, so your younger siblings, you've been terrifying them with tales of what goes on in that place. But it has stayed open. People do come to it occasionally. People travel down the dirt road from the distant city to come to this place, and then when they leave again, they don't ever talk to anybody in the town for some reason. You guys are convinced it's because they're all trying to be here on the sly, and they're performing dark rituals in there they don't want anybody to know about, while the mothers are convinced that it's because they look down upon the hick folk out in the sticks or whatever. So yes, you and a bunch of shithead friends are there. What are you doing at the general store?
We were wandering around the aisles and like looking at what's in the store, kind of gossiping, but also like, what if I got this and used it against the people in the new coffee shop kind of thing. And the conversation turns to the point where I'm like, I think they're powerful sorcerers to draw so many city folk into town like this, and none of them want anything to do with us, so it must be magic.
I mean, yeah, that's totally what it is, man. I mean, how else are they gonna get people from the city to come here? Like, they never cared before, so why do they care now? I mean, it's all the changes that she's there.
It's just the power of the trolls. What if we tried to chase them out? That would make people proud of us, right?
I mean, my mom certainly doesn't want that thing there. I don't think they'd be mad at us about it.
So how far do we need to go to do it?
I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank because I never participated in these stupid rituals as a kid.
I didn't either.
We were nerds. We had, if not sense, we had scruples.
Burn it.
Darkness and keyboards.
We had
Burn it down.
standards.
What are you afraid? What your mom's gonna do if she finds out what you did?
No.
So we just do it. I'm not afraid. You afraid?
No. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, let's go. I ain't afraid. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, let's do it.
We'll break the steam machine.
Yeah, let's do it.
Actions don't have consequences. Let's go.
I start leading my gang out the door of the general store.
The clerk of the general store has been asleep with the newspaper over his face this entire time. Like, you guys are in here so much, then he's heard, like, the clerk has never ever.
We're not actually causing trouble in the general store. We're planning to cause trouble in the general store.
Yeah, you guys don't cause trouble in the general store. You plan it there, and also it's not a place to go. So like, the clerk doesn't, like, you don't cause trouble there, but you also don't really buy stuff very much there because, like,
we're teenagers and we're broke.
You're teenagers and you're broke, and also anything you wanted to buy there, you've already bought there pretty much, except maybe for some food, junk food or whatever. So the clerk has been asleep this entire time with a newspaper over his face.
Oh yeah.
So Arcane the Sage redeemed a custom NPC drop. Rainbow-haired troll DJ.
That's gonna wait for the train.
Okay. Just because Arcane is like, troll rave watches all the rainbow hair fly.
We can definitely do that.
Oh, there's a rave car. Anyway. Oh, God.
So yeah, you and your friends all troop outside. They're following your lead, but they are definitely egging you and each other on. Like, you afraid? No, I'm not afraid. That's when there's a scaredy cat. And you get to the coffee shop, and it is dark and shuttered. The lights are on the floor above, but the actual shop itself is not currently open.
Even better.
So you guys kind of gather up outside, and you're all waiting. It's like, yeah, you want to do? You go first. You just trying to egg each other. They're egging each other on. They're kind of building up to it.
Oh, come on, guys. Stop screwing around. I pick up a big rock and throw it through a window.
Yeah, and then immediately all the others start copying your action. Like, they pick up rocks and start throwing them at windows and stuff. And like the window on the floor above, because you've just been, you're athletic, but you're not that athletic, so you haven't been hooking into the upstairs windows. This one flies open, and she leans out and she yells something at you that none of you can really hear over the sound of, y'all yelling at each other. Yeah, it's like, yeah, good one. 3 points if I get it through, that kind of stuff, You're egging each other on and being loud and obnoxious about it. And like, you can see some of the grown-ups in the town have kind of like congregated at the doors of like town hall and the bank order, but they're not coming up to stop you because honestly they're not happy the thing is here. And kids will be kids, just sorry. We'll make you pick it up later or whatever, just blowing off some steam. So the person's upstairs yelling at you. What are they saying? Black Sword.
Oh, that's the interesting part, is that you really can't understand it because it's not a language you speak, which makes sense because they're foreign. You never really understood what they said, but nothing ever seemed to go right after that.
So bearer of the curse, what happens?
This is the moment I got cursed. I, as the ringleader of this gang of miscreants at the moment, get the short end of the stick on this curse that's being flung at us out this window. And
well, okay, take a step back out of the scene. It does have to include the lighter at some point because that is the focal point.
I know.
Okay.
We'll get there.
I'm agog. Let's do it.
Yeah. My brain's working on it. So I feel this curse coming on, and I'm like, oh shit, guys, we really screwed up.
Maybe this wasn't a good idea.
Oh shit, she really is a witch.
Run away. And one of my friends is like, no, we gotta see it through. And he pulls out the lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna try setting this building on fire, despite the fact that it's probably not gonna just like light up.
Uh-huh.
We're stupid teenagers. That's how
Right.
it works. This is just how it works, right?
Right.
And sorry, Norse evil ring, would that be Andvari's ring?
I think so. You brought it up in another game I run.
Okay.
Not on stream.
Anyway, I just got sidetracked there.
Parents, if you don't teach your kids about sagas, someone else will.
My brain is so full of sagas.
Sorry, my brain's only full of the Volkswagen saga for some reason. It's a fantasy series. Anyway.
Yeah. So this guy's trying to light the building on fire, and I start feeling like a bear because it's the bearer of the curse.
Right.
And I'm screaming at my friends to run. This guy isn't running, and I knock the lighter out of his hand and sort of shove him away from me.
Mm-hmm.
When all is said and done, I've rampaged through the town, and I go back and find the lighter later because everyone is now afraid of me.
Okay. To be clear, did you actually turn into a bear, or did you?
Yes,
Okay.
turned into a bear, like full-on werebear.
Okay.
Are
So
you a
yeah.
grizzly growl? Do your quads do aggro? Puka just had to take tonight off.
The boa of the course.
The boa of your course.
Very scary bear.
The scary bear.
So
Scary bear still.
you start feeling weird, and like all this stuff happens. Sure, you roar at your friend, and when you roar, it's really roaring now. And you knock their hand away with a lighter, and when you do, you feel it crack under your paw. Not sure right now. Everything gets
Somewhere
a little
in between.
everything gets a little funky after that. You want to say something, Zardog?
The hand or the lighter cracks.
The arm of the person holding the lighter.
You know, he didn't need that arm.
Yeah.
He cannot find honeybees with one hand.
Anyway, and after that it gets a little fuzzy. When you come back to when you come back to yourself, you are a fair amount outside of town, and you are yourself kind of scratched up and stuff. Like, you have some injuries you don't really remember getting, and so you head back to town, and you're like, your shirt's all torn up. You have retained the PG-13 amount of pants required.
You're Hulk naked.
Yeah, you're Hulk naked, basically. So it's pants, no shoes. Those pants have become very fetching split-sided capris.
And they're inexplicably purple.
Inexplicably. Every time.
They were purple to begin with because purple is fucking fabulous.
Totally. And you wander back into town, and like nothing is actually on fire, but like the windows are the general store are broken. The the town hall had a porch on it that would be used for impromptu townspeak. Yeah.
Oh,
Currently it has a bunch of kindling and rubble in front of it. It was just a wood porch, and when you take out the support pillars on that, it all goes. The bank seems to suffer the least amount of damage because apparently it was designed to resist damage in the first place.
It was designed to withstand bear attack.
Bears and bank robbers or whatever. So it's just got long 4-claw scrapes on the front.
There's bears.
Nobody else is around.
Cool, you killed everyone.
Well, you didn't see any blood, and you weren't covered in blood when you woke up. But you do find that lighter. Strangely enough, the coffee shop is the only thing that has not been, scraped all the shit, clawed up, busted, or otherwise damaged. And that lighter is sitting there on the ground in front of it.
It is just slightly singed. Oh, plus broken windows.
I mean, it was a lighter, and a teenager is going to try and light an entire building with just the lighter and no accelerant. So I don't even think it's singed because it had that kind of stone siding.
If that teenager had paid attention to chemistry class, oh, how differently their life would have gone.
Yes.
If that teenager had been to a chemistry class,
Yeah, I was gonna say, both of you to assume that any of us went to chemistry.
I'm betting you're 12 and haven't been able to get to chemistry yet.
Yep. And as the bearer of the curse picks up the lighter, we pull out, and we come back to that diner car. And the bearer of the curse looks at the lighter and looks at the dark spirit and just goes, I picked it up off the street.
Or does he?
Yeah,
Does he? Sorry. I thought it'd be funny to underplay it, but go ahead.
After all that, it's just, I picked it up off the street.
Oh, okay. Cool.
All right. And that is the second round.
Okay, it is, we're about 5 minutes away from break time, so do we want to pause for a 10-minute break here, and then...
Yep. The Dark Spear and the Bearer of the Curse each have one flashback. when one person gets one more flashback, we'll start the second leg.
Okay.
Cool.
And then the
It
second
takes-
leg is where all the demon and
Yes.
angel stuff, and then okay.
And then the end, yeah.
Okay.
So once we hit the second leg, it'll be one round per each saint and demon, essentially, doing either a stop or an event as their choice, and then we'll reach Cerebos. So
Okay. All right, chat. This is supposed to be a 10-minute break, but I might fall asleep halfway through, so we'll see what happens. I've considered we might have to make these 15-minute breaks because 10 minutes seems not realistic, but we'll see. All right, so go get a drink. Go make some good ramen.
don't choke on that ramen.
Don't choke on that. Don't
That's
fall
very important.
asleep in the ramen.
Also very important.
Yeah, moral of the story so far is don't piss off the coffee witch. Just don't do it.
I can't believe I pissed off the coffee witch.
That was
This
an
feels
amazing.
shameful.
That was such a wonderful flashback. All right, we'll see you in 10, chat. Woohoo! Bye.
Have fun.
Hello, chat. We are back. I clicked the unmute button instead of the end stream button, and I feel good about that. This is Magic Fish Radio. We do tabletop RPG stuff twice a week, usually. Tonight is indie one-shot night, and Merc has been running us through Cerebos, the Crystal City, which is a very fun, cerebral, role-playing, communal storytelling one-shot game. Although we have had to make several edits to the system to make it fit a 3-hour slot. This is a game that can easily take 8 hours of a one-shot, but it's fun. It's fun. But we have 3 hours, so. So with that, I am gonna see if a fancy Slim Jim wakes me up. Merc, continue on with whatever round turn we were starting.
Okay. Sorry, I'm flipping over. Anyway, well, hello, children. No, sorry. Anyway, so we had actually just finished a round. So we're at the top of turn 3 essentially, and the Dark Spear has 1 flashback. The Bearer of the Curse has 1 flashback. The Black Sword has no flashbacks. Whenever one person hits 2 flashbacks, we'll proceed to the second leg, the second half of the journey. If 2 people hit the 2 flashbacks at one point, whoever is most indecisive, or you can just roll for it. Sorry. Okay. In deference to the person who is chewing, Bear the Curse, Black Sword. What you gonna do?
Has a new
Right,
event spawned, or
Huh?
has a new event spawned?
No.
Okay.
Your choices are releasing touchstones, provoking a flashback, experiencing a shared flashback. We are not sponsored by Chomps, but we do endorse them, apparently. You can stop the train, which means the next turn will take place as a stop, and we'll stop actions to train actions. You can share a meal. So for you might end up sharing it with a bunch of NPCs, but that's up to you. You can use a conductor power, and yes, that's what you can do right now.
I'm gonna think for a minute.
Okay. Bearer of the Curse.
I think I want to go actively looking for the Black Sword because I saw him getting on the train and we have a shared flashback.
Okay. You're going to experience a shared flashback. On what items are going to provoke the flashback?
Oh, I don't know. That's one of mine and one of his.
Yes.
Okay.
The flashback will involve them both.
the toolkit and the signet ring.
Okay. So you finish up your meal with the dark spear, or rather, you finish your coffee, or do you finish your coffee after having that flashback?
After having that flashback, I'm like, And then I chug the rest of it all in one go.
Well,
Yep.
you're awake now.
Yep.
Check the rest of it, slam the mug down, stand up, and go, I will seek adventure elsewhere. And you head on down the train. So as you're going down the train, when you came up the train, it was just a bunch of regular passenger cars between here and the nap car. But as you pass through one of the passenger cars, it has changed dramatically since the last time you were there. The lights are off, the shutters are dimmed, and someone is playing very loud music that you're surprised you didn't hear before you open the door to that car, because it kind of almost shakes your bones when you step in. It's, lots of bass, very thunka 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 kind of, and one set of benches, because they're the kind that face each other. So one of those with the back to back has turned. It's actually two of those. Have been turned to face the wall almost, and have been almost turned into like a lectern kind of thing, where behind that is a tiny figure with, I think, rainbow hair, if I recall correctly.
I believe that was it.
Yeah, rainbow hair troll DJ. A rainbow hair, wild rainbow hair, sticking a good, foot above them. I mean, they are short, but they're not, shorter than 4'7". So like it is pretty short, but it's not quite unnaturally short. They're not 3 foot nothing. They are 4'7", proud of it. Although with their hair, that's a good extra 1.5 feet right there. That hair is definitely something, and they are the one responsible for the music. You can tell because they have headphones on, and the music is definitely coming from beside them. Yeah, the people who were in the car, for game value of people, are in fact dancing to the music using glow sticks. They're having a grand old time. But you pass through because this isn't what you're looking for. It is an adventure, but it's not the adventure you're looking for. And so you pass
dance through.
Yeah, you
you can't help but dance a little.
Shimmy your way through, and you get to the other side and you open it and you walk through, and as soon as you close the door behind you, the music cuts off. Like someone took a guillotine to the sound. And you are once again left alone with the whistling of the wind and the rattling of the train as it passes over the railroad ties.
How jarring.
Indeed. And so you pass through, you pass through the nap car, you pass through the rest of the passenger cars, and you come to the caboose. Black Sword, are you still standing and looking at the edge?
No.
Or have you come into the caboose?
I'm probably inside.
Okay. Have you taken advantage of the tea set?
No.
What are you doing then?
Smoking.
Sorry?
I am happily smoking.
Okay. Cigar, cigarette, pipe, vape?
Cigars.
Okay. Sorry. So, Bear the Curse, you come into the caboose, and you hadn't found, you only saw the Black Sword briefly as you both came onto the train, but, he's kind of the one, there was something about him. It's like, it just caught your eye. And so when you didn't find him in the rest of the passenger cars, you keep going and you end up in the caboose. And once again, you see the lovely tea set, which isn't rattling despite the motion of the train. And it's fine porcelain with silver gilt on it, floral patterned in nice pink roses, steaming gently. The cookies are still, They still look fresh. The scones are still also steaming gently in their basket with their little cloth on them. Um, there are various other little jars and such sit around it, but the person you were looking for isn't there. The person you're looking for is standing, sorry, leaned up against the side inside of the caboose, like just inside the back door. He's smoking like a chimney with a large cigar. How much of it is burned down?
Not much. I haven't been smoking for very long.
It isn't very far burned down. Are you wearing the hat or are you looking at it?
I've got the hat sitting on the table.
Okay. So and beside the tea set on the table, which granted isn't a very large table, but there's just enough room for it, is a handsome black top hat, crushed wool, kind of dusty, like it's been outside for a while for some reason. You're not sure why. But it hasn't got anything on the tea set at least.
As I walk in, I say, I thought I had seen you getting on. You seem to have acquired a lovely hat.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to explain that.
Then don't.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on it.
Every hunter wears his kills. Sorry, I'm not there.
So are you, as you I thought I'd seen you. Despite the Black Sword's lack of enthusiasm for meeting you, it seems you're still, one of those fellows. So you come up and you hold your hand out. Nice to meet you. For a handshake.
Okay, I will return the handshake.
Cool. As you reach out and take the bearer of the curse's hand, your tools clink in your pocket, and the signet ring that the bearer is wearing on that hand. Which finger are you wearing it on?
Probably middle finger on my right hand there.
Okay. So the signet ring that the bearer is wearing on the middle finger of their right hand catches the light just for an instant, and the camera pans out from the handshake back up into the clouds, and we come upon and then comes back down into a scene in the city by the sea. It's a large, sprawling metropolis. There are sections that are newer than others. You two are in one of the older sections. The road is cobbled. The street is narrow. It's not the same cobble road as the Pithy Needle was on. It's a darker street. There's not as many street lights. The buildings loom higher around it. And even, you can tell by the quality of the light that it is kind of early, late afternoon. But even then, the light has already been blocked from this particular little street. Shadows have gathered, and the buildings on either side do not open onto it. There's a bunch of little alleyways that open onto it from here and there, but none of the buildings open there, at least as far as you can see. What are you two doing there? The Black Sword, why are you in this little roadway?
Probably on the way back to the shop.
What kind of shop is it?
It's a mechanic shop.
Okay. Bearer of the Curse, I'm assuming this is some years later after you acquired the lighter. So you are traveling down this little street. Why are you in the city? Well, no, you're in the city because it's a good place to get lost. Why are you on the street? Sorry.
It's just a place between here and there.
Do you have a job currently?
Yeah, it's not something I'm attached to.
So, Chris, how do they meet on the street? Is it a collision? Is it, a greeting? Is it something else?
It's one of those almost collisions where either of them is not completely oblivious, but when you're just sort of half not paying attention and you almost walk into someone. and these are two very big dudes. So they do this thing where they kind of almost collide, and then they stop short, and they're like, "Oh, well, depending on the people, it might be a whole bunch of back and forth of excuse me, no, you're first. But these two might have a different dynamic. So it was a near collision.
Yep. You two are the only ones on this street at this point in time.
So as I almost run into you, it's oh, excuse me. I really should have been walking literally anywhere else, eh?
Could still be.
Well, apologies. I take a couple steps back and I'm gonna keep walking on my way, but I'm glancing over my shoulder at this guy who is just such a jerk to me all of a sudden.
Why are you in this neighborhood?
I could ask you the same question.
My shop is 3 blocks down and 2 blocks to the right. I have a very specific reason to be in this neighborhood. I work here. You are not employed by any of the people who work within 6 blocks of here. So again, I will ask, why are you in this neighborhood?
Why does it matter?
At this point, it's idle curiosity.
Fair enough.
What are you, a cop?
Cop shoes!
Maybe
No.
I'm just looking for some windows to break. I'm not, I promise.
I mean, you can. I don't care about most of these people.
So, are there windows I should break then?
How much trouble do you want to be in?
Wasn't looking for any today.
What is your acceptable level of risk of trouble?
How pissed off do you want the rest of the city to be?
You're not going to piss off the rest of the city. You'll be dead before that happens.
Uh-huh.
As you're are you just standing and talking to each other, or do you keep walking?
I think we're standing and talking a little ways away because I had started to walk and he asked me a question.
As you two are saying there, you hear a voice coming from one of the nearby alleyways. You should have listened to him, bruv. We don't want no troubles here, but we'll take it out. We'll take it out on you if you do. 6 men, burly men, not as tall as the bearer of the curse, no, nor even as tall as the Black Sword, but burly in their own rights, come walking out of the alleyway. Clearly, they were looking for trouble, as more than the bearer of the curse was. All of them have various weapons, more like in the age of like tire irons or pipes, or even just broomsticks, depending. But they're weapons. They were clearly out looking for trouble of some kind.
Is walking through a neighborhood trouble to you?
Nah, but you wasn't just walking now, was you? You was asking about breaking windows, weren't you? And we don't like that here, no, do we? No, sir, we don't.
These idiots can't take a joke, apparently. I say directly to the Black Sword, but obviously loud enough for them to hear.
You hear that? He called us idiots. Yeah, he called us idiots, and I don't approve of it at all. I don't.
Well, their mother and father are blood relatives, so they're not very bright.
What'd you say about my mother?
I said she is married to her brother, is exactly what I said.
Say your mom's your aunt.
When it was like, get him, boys! And so they come at you with sticks and what have you. So.
It's at this point that I pull unkindness out of my coat for the first time that you've ever seen it. And unkindness is a very strange firearm that doesn't doesn't use gunpowder. It is a magnetic accelerator. It is a railgun. And I just point at one of them and just shoot the wall next to him, and it just craters the brick.
Honestly, even with a railgun, even a handheld, you put it right through the brick, through the front of the brick, and through the other side. Like,
now,
That's trouble.
they stop, they halt, faces paling, like, oh shit, this is more than we bargained for.
Now, the 6 of you can fuck off. Or I can put you in the hospital. Your choice.
They look at each other, and one of them steps forward and goes, "Will you take back what you said about my mother?"
If your mother comes and asks me nicely, I'll be more than happy to.
She's 6 years in her grave, she is, and I won't have anybody slandering her memory.
Well, that sounds like it's going to be a personal problem for you. Now, jog on.
He looks like he wants to keep striding, but like 2 or 3 of the other guys just grab him by the back of his shirt and drag him off. No offense meant, sir. No offense meant. You have a nice day, sir. One of them calls back.
Just wave as they leave.
Bye, nerds.
So
Well, you wrapped that up more cleanly than I could have.
They're not very bright. That doesn't mean they need to be dead.
It's very true.
to be fair, Barry, he just used a gun. You've never seen any kind look like before.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm a little in shock, but also like,
And then I will walk over to the wall I put a hole in, and I will pull my toolkit, and I will start fixing the wall.
So the wall is brick, and you did put a hole through it, and like when you look through the hole, you can see through to the other side, and through the other side of that, like you can still see daylight coming. You can see daylight coming in through this hole, which means you put it through the front of the building. But you know this building, it's like the upper floors are tenements, but like the lower stories are usually not inhabited at this point, not this time of day. They get busier later at night.
Yeah. So pull a brick out of the pile of bricks that are sitting in this alleyway, because this probably happens a lot.
Yep.
Slot a brick in.
Take a brick, leave a brick.
It's a brick-based economy.
so would you like a hand with that?
Gold standard? No, brick standard.
Are you competent with bricks?
Fairly.
What am I throwing them at?
Truth be told, I throw them more often than I build with them, but...
A brick is like a rock, right? Go making that particular categorization.
Bricks, 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 bricks.
Bricked.
Just saved my hide, and I'd feel bad leaving you to do all the work cleaning up.
All right, you can stay for a minute. We will fix the bricks of various things that we have destroyed.
Yep. The front door of that building is locked, but it's not really an impediment to you. Especially not this little toolkit.
Well, there should be a giant hole in it. I should be able to just reach in and open it.
It's not near the door. Like, you shot through a building, okay? So you went through an inner wall, out the front wall, but the front wall is, off true of the actual front door.
As I start laying bricks, I'm gonna pretty obviously take off my ring and put it in a pocket so that it's not in the way while I'm laying bricks.
All right. Do you two talk while you're laying bricks, or do you work in stony silence?
I think
that was absolutely terrible.
More puns.
Sorry, Logsword.
I think we're just another brick in the wall on this one.
Rock on. So we pull back. We pull back away from this bricklaying. We pull back into the clouds and pull back into the caboose, where the smoke still curls lazily in the air, and the steam rises gently from the basket of scones sitting there in its little towel, and from the spout of the teapot. Okay, so the bearer of the curse has experienced their second flashback and has become the seeker. We will start the second leg. So you two, you just shook his hand. You each both experienced a flash of memory where you were both there. Do you speak to each other about it, or do you just like not acknowledge that you ever seen each other before at all?
I'm gonna thank him for helping me again. Just like during a handshake, say like, I've never forgotten that time when you helped me out in the city. I'm glad to have run into you again.
Still never explained to me why you were in the city that day.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? But I was wandering between here and there. Liked to take the long way to work.
Yes, work. That job you allegedly had.
Your doubt amuses me, sir.
Dracus is himbo is such an interesting revelation to me. Chaos Goblin, sure. Okay.
Yeah, they do it so well. Yeah. I'm more entertained the fact that Dracus is playing someone who's 6'7", than the fact that I have met Dracus in real life.
Yeah.
Okay, they're actually like only like half an inch shorter than I am. But anyway, we're both short. Suck it up.
Hashtag Hobbit life.
Yep, that Hobbit life. Okay, so as we have reached someone with 2 flashbacks, we now into the second leg. Who is the saint and who is the demon? Choose among yourselves, but one has to be.
What is the distinction again?
So the difference between saints and demons is saints are trying to get the so first of all, let's reveal the seeker's secret goal to the seeker.
Ooh.
Come on, you bitch. There we go. Now if you focus.
That is delightful.
All right.
I'll tell you what I was going to write for you after game.
So, you know what you're intending to do when you set out, and you know why. Do you still feel that way? If so, swell. You've tested your will under sun and adversity. The path ahead may be physically perilous, but ideologically sound. If Cerebos isn't offering the good services or social climate you need, you might have to go start tempering your expectations. On the other hand, if you're starting to rethink your original goal, breaking away may take a powerful act of will or friendship.
But I like being a bear.
So
buying her coffee doesn't mean I get uncursed.
So saints and demons are foils for the protagonist, but they're also drivers of new discoveries. Although the seeker's reality exerts powerful pressure on the story, their ticket to the future is still blank. Remembering your secret goal is a different kettle of soup than knowing what to do about it. Reality is less flexible in the second leg than the first leg. Consider your secret goal, past actions, and personal aesthetic when describing stops and events. Look for chances to reference characters or situations from the seeker's past and test their convictions in new and exciting ways. So, seeker, you know what you're seeking. Saints and demons. Saints, so saints try and help the seeker hold on to the past. It's not always a good thing because that may prevent them from what they could become. Demons are trying to help the seeker move on, let go of their past and move on to the future. This is not always a good thing because sometimes they can lose who they were in the process of who they're becoming. You know, like losing yourself to become something new. Good, bad, indifferent, it's all relative. But the demon looks ahead while the saint looks behind. Each saint and demon sets up either an event or a stop. Each one will last one round, and everyone can interact with it as they would a normal event or stop. And at the end of that, we will reach Cerebos. So we basically have 2 more rounds before we hit Cerebos. So, saints and demons, if you had any momentum on any items, you could spend it now to make specific alterations to the event or stop you were making. But since nobody has any momentum, it doesn't matter.
How are we supposed to get momentum again? I forget.
Momentum happens on touchstones. Like when you try and release a touchstone, it gains momentum. It is significance to the items you hold.
Mm-hmm.
Momentum is bad for the seeker because the seeker is trying to get to Cerebos. Yeah. They are trying to move on. Momentum is not as helpful not as bad for the saints and demons. So yes, you have moved into the second leg as the train pulls along underneath the empty desert sky, and the painted hills roll away. Like, have you ever seen like the painted hills desert pictures? I'll get a picture. Give me a second.
People are now trying to calculate Drax's height in using cats as a unit of measurement.
Which is funny because they still don't know how tall I am, and I'm not sharing.
11.
Yeah. Chat, have some decorum. You know, don't ask personal details on the internet. What the heck?
Okay, so we have.
I'm guessing 11 cats.
That is the place I thought. I've actually been there.
Yep.
Those things are so cool. Honestly, the pictures don't do it justice.
Yeah. So, like, the painted desert is, deserts come in a lot of different colors. Granted, most of them are shades of ochre red and kind of green, but,
Is that from mineral deposits and
yeah, most of the time. Most of the time, yeah, it's mineral deposits.
Cool.
Yep. That's, iron makes soil reds, that kind of stuff. Iron oxides make soil red. Anyway, fun and handy chemistry lessons.
That's what we come to this stream for.
Totally. Okay, so.
And how to use cats as a unit of measurement.
Apparently.
Clearly.
I mean, they measure horses and hands, so
We're nerds. Is good.
All right. So, who would like to be the saint and who would like to be the demon?
I could be the saint.
Sure.
Okay. We could also roll evens odds for it.
Yeah. Doesn't matter, but there has to be about even numbers.
ADHD brain gave me
only 2 of us.
Yeah.
I know. If we had more people, it would be more significant. Like the one game we had like 5 people. We ended up going 2 sessions with that one, but we were also playing unmodified rules. Anyway.
Oh, that's a good game.
Yep.
Anyway,
so
I could do this.
Yep.
ADHD brain gave me an absolutely terrible idea, and I'm doing it anyway.
Totally. So yes, stops or events. If you choose to make it a stop, the train will stop on the next turn, and we'll start the turn at a stop, and each of you will get to do an action at the stop as you would normally. The person whose stop it is, saint or demon, must share a scene or a flashback or what have you with the seeker, but the seeker can choose to do any of these stop or train actions on their turn, as can the saint or the other person whose thing it is not. Make sense?
So I can stop the train, and then as part of that round, I have to have a scene with bearer of the curse.
Correct. You must also create the stop we stop at, unless you don't want to, in which case we can just roll the table. I have it up.
I have an idea.
Can you send us the stop actions as well? I do
Yes.
not remember what they were from, like 3 hours ago.
Yeah, me neither.
One stop action is not available, which is cause trouble, which would cause an extra round at that stop because we don't have the time. Straight up.
Fair enough.
So. Best seize opportunity and right, those 2. Okay. Seizing an opportunity is just interacting with the stop. like you would interact with an event.
Rest, seize opportunity, release touchdown. Use conductor power.
Sorry. Okay. The only conductor power you can use at the stop, because we are in the all ages fairy tale, is friends forever. A different traveler heals 2 damage. Change one of your lowest ranked traits to its so it relates to that traveler or your current stop. If you don't have any traits, that's all right. Oh, yes, sorry. You should have also added a trait and a level 2 trait and two trait points to whichever item you did the last flashback with, for both the Seeker and the Demon. If you already had 2 traits on it, because I messed up when we started this, you just go ahead and get 4 trait points to spread out as you like.
Okay. I would like to stop the train.
Okay. So you get hold of the Wumpus and like, oh yes, that sounds delightful. We can certainly stop the train. Where are we stopping the train? Please describe.
So, are we still in the middle of the desert, or?
It doesn't matter where in the desert you are. Like, as if you want to stop in like, because some of the stops are at the bottom of the ocean, that kind of stuff. Wherever you want to stop, we'll stop there. Like, will the desert will transition to whatever it is, and we will stop at where we are.
Okay, we come to a point where the desert kind of falls into like an oasis mode, and not too far away is the edge of a dark forest. Around this oasis has sprung up kind of a train stop touristy area where there's like, you know, nice kind of cool stone like walkways and plaza and a fountain and a snack shop. Well, apparently this week, some of the bears have come out of the forest nearby and have set up a rainbow-style dance club in the outer doors. And so there is about 20 bears of varying definitions of the word bear dancing and singing to YMCA.
Are any of them the Berenstein Bears?
Sure.
No.
There's 20? Yeah, sure. But fairy tales for all ages.
Yep.
But yes, so lots of very happy bears, some of which are absolutely terrifying to look at, but are very chill. So we basically get off the train into another rave, because...
Why not?
We didn't have enough of the last one, clearly.
I'm kind of envisioning like that scene from Brother Bear when Kenai makes it to the waterfalls. No, okay.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Never actually seen Brother Bear.
Okay. This at one point they finally get to the conclave of bears, and like all the bears are there. So it's so many bears.
Da bears. So I
Da bears.
Da bears. So
Is this place called the Honey Hole?
it is now.
You're welcome.
Let's see. What does seize opportunity mean again?
So you interact with the stop. An opportunity to make a trait check to lower the danger arises. What danger is your stop? What level of danger is your stop? Please note the max is 5, and 5 would be like weird Cthulhu eldritch abominations are trying actively to eat you.
Is the minimum like 1?
Minimum's like 2, I think.
Okay, so we'll say this is a 2. The danger is less. Well, I don't know. You know, you could get eaten by a bear. You could get seduced by bear life and never want to get back on the train. The bear necessities life.
Bear life.
Embrace the bear.
Bear life. Well, I created this. Look at the conductor powers again. Friends forever.
Yes, the only conductor power you can use at a stop is friends forever. All of the others are either automatic or take place in the train.
Okay. Says if I don't have traits, that's okay, but what if nobody has any damage to heal?
That's also okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess there's the train screeches to a halt. We all get off the train. The Dark Spear finds bearer of the curse in the cacophony of people spilling out of the train.
My coffee companion.
Hey! She looks at friends of yours?
No.
Okay. Being a bear looks like a lot more fun than being me.
You would be surprised.
I mean, who wouldn't want to just live in a forest nightclub forever? Dancing and eating candy necklaces.
I mean, there is that, but there is also worth in the human existence.
Yeah, but the human existence is just so complicated and annoying, and like money is a thing.
Indeed. Dancing bears does seem kind of fun.
Yeah.
But no, I have a goal.
Wah, 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 waltzing with bears.
I forget the teddy bear picnic song. I'm sure there are bears also having a picnic.
If you go out in the woods today, you're in for a big surprise. I don't remember the rest of it either, unfortunately.
I didn't remember any of it, so you're one up on me. Whew. Okay, so well, it says friends forever. That does mean I'm interacting with another traveler, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm brain fogged still. I'm more awake now, but I'm still very brain fogged.
Let me. Revelations. Okay.
So the Dark Spear may be accidentally trying to seduce Bearer of the Curse to stay a bear.
Woohoo. So the train reaches a danger zone. You GM it. So, yeah, technically the Dark Spear would be the GM for this scheme.
Oh, okay. Woohoo.
You're in charge.
I mean, should we just stay here and not go to Cerebos? Because we don't really know what's there, but we know it's here. And this is nice. Anything's better than monkeys. Tailless monkeys. Jesus Christ.
Do you have a problem with the monkeys?
I had a problem with not until, they didn't let me get on the train because they were in the way and they were all loud and screechy. This is loud, but like in a way that isn't giving me a migraine.
I see. I don't think that living as a bear for your entire life would be as fantastic as you seem to think.
Meh. Well, they make it look good. And yeah, that's about what I got. So mechanics. Okay. So traits. I change one of my traits so it relates to that traveler or the current stop.
Yes.
I'm gonna so small empty jewelry box as the trait confused. I want to change it to distracted.
Okay.
Because this clearly the dancing bear rave stop is distracting me from all of our higher purposes.
Fair.
Woot.
Okay.
Forever.
So Black Sword and Bearer of the Curse, you may take a stop action. Bearer of the Curse, if you had any damage, you'd be healed of it, but since nobody took any damage just yet, we're doing good.
Because someone killed the hat before it could kill us.
You know, it might have just fallen behind. You know?
It's a Danger 3 hat. It had to go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, imagine a level 5 threat hat. Yeek.
Has teeth.
Hat
How
trick.
does- How does releasing a touchstone work?
So, to release a touchstone, you give me a second. Sorry. So, releasing a touchstone. Sacrificing a touchstone is a moment of personal transformation. Giving up such an important talisman requires a roll which cannot be affected by traits. Every 2 points of momentum on the item round down forces a reroll of the lowest die. So this reroll cannot be made. This roll cannot be made until after meeting of the scene with a touchdown. This doesn't have to be anything as mechanical as a flashback, but there should be narrative weight behind the decision to huck that bust of your beloved off a cliff. You can take 1 damage to reroll 1 die as long as another traveler steps in to help, or use one if chat buys one for you. You can use the rerolls on this. This action doesn't need to be an act of kindness as long as you're conflicted about giving up the item. Wrestling over a cursed amulet is fair game. So.
I will be releasing a touchstone.
You're releasing a touchstone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which one are you releasing and why?
Unkindness.
Okay.
Because someone else is going to need it more than I will.
Since the stop is covered in bears.
I'm not
So-
afraid of bears. I'm really not. Okay. So I'll find a bearer of the curse because we need to have a further conversation from what we were having. So I will pull unkindness out of its holster, which that's a weird thing. You've seen unkindness before a couple of different times, and unkindness will actually reconfigure itself into whatever weapon I want it to be. So you've seen it turn into a melee weapon, you've seen it do the railgun trick, you've seen it do a couple of other things. It's a very handy, very useful item. But it's one of those things where you can see the conflict in Blacksword's eyes. He's very conflicted about what this is and what needs to happen today. And he just offers you unkindness.
It's a bright sunny day. The YMCA is blasting in the background. People are gyrating on the dance floor, but you two are standing in the shade of a palm tree on a cool stone walkway. And everything seems to get a little dimmer when he pulls unkindness out.
You could shoot a bear with it, I wouldn't stop you.
I do not want to shoot a bear, but why are you giving this to me?
I suspect that where you're going, you may have more need of it than I have of it right now. The future is going to be a very strange thing, and you have to be willing to accept that as you move forward.
Perhaps you are right. I hope that my future never comes to a point where I need to use this as a weapon as it's intended. But I think it would be good to carry it nonetheless.
You may be surprised at how very, very helpful it can be.
Roll 2d6.
3.
Change. You break the shackles of your past and do what needs to be done. Give the touchstone to someone who needs it or rid yourself of it in another way that brings closure. Gain 1 contemplation, remove all momentum from the touchstone, and reduce all attached traits by 1 rank.
It is down to 0s in both of its traits.
Okay. That's fine. They still exist. They're still attached to it. They just can't be used to reroll trait checks. They're not gone. They're just resting.
They're just sleeping.
So yes, gain 1 contemplation and remove all momentum. You don't have any momentum on the touchdown. But you did get a contemplation, which will be helpful for the end of epilogue roll.
Yeah.
Bearer of the curse. The black sword looked very conflicted as he held this thing. It seemed to make everything a little bit dimmer, but even, he held it and he looked at it and he, took a deep breath and he handed it to you. And when you take it from him, he looks lighter somehow, as if a burden was lifted from him, even though what's in your hand isn't very heavy at all, really. What configuration is it now?
Right now it's in pistol mode.
the bearer of the. Presumably, it changes when you had the bearer of the curse.
Yeah, it'll change.
Is it a rock?
Is it a flooring brick? Aerodynamic for your benefit.
I mean, it's probably a sword, let's be honest.
So,
Yeah, by that.
in his hands, it was a gun. In your hands, it's a sword. It's a very fine weapon. It's well balanced. Perhaps a little bit shorter than someone of your stature might actually use, but for all that, it feels easy in your hand.
I give it a little test swing, and I am satisfied, and I
When
like-
you decide to sheath it, you do that flippy thing that Corvo does when he sheathes his sword, and it just collapses into itself.
okay.
Oh, you haven't.
Reference not understood.
Dang it! I'll show it later. It's really cool. Corvo's sword from Dishonored is a super cool sword that
Okay.
folds in and out of a hilt, basically into a full length sword.
I see.
Sword,
And
sword.
I'll thank the Black Sword again and say, I hope that you find your future is somehow brighter without this burden.
We'll all see.
Of course. That's the nature of moving forward, isn't it?
Yes. Seeing what comes next.
Bearer, you have one. You can take a stop action.
Right. I can. What does seize opportunity do?
You interact with the stop. It's like interacting with an event. You would look
Okay.
for the danger. We are, for convenience's sake, ignoring the fact that if you leave from a danger 2 or higher stop, everyone gains a damage.
It'll be fun.
Mainly because I don't want to have to force you guys to interact with the stop to not take damage.
Okay.
I think it's 2 or higher. It might be 3 or higher.
I thought it was like the minimum damage, so.
Right,
I
but
think-
if you don't reduce in the normal course of play, if you don't reduce the damage of an event or stop, and they end prematurely, whatever, every player takes a damage. So
I think regardless of the actual danger to us, I want to seize the opportunity and interact with the stop.
and lower the danger somehow. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I think I'm gonna join the bears for a few minutes, and if they are indeed at all dangerous, somehow show them that the way they're behaving now is fantastic, and they should continue to not threaten people.
So you head over to the dance floor and you start dancing. We've moved from YMCA to Go West. Go West, life is peaceful there. You never heard that one? Oh, sorry. It's a Dance Dance Revolution song, so I assume.
Okay.
So it's YMCA. I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe they're both.
It takes me at least 5 years to hear any pop song, so.
Oh, I'm thinking this is older than that because I
Okay.
play this on DDR Max 2 on the PS2. So, but
Link it
Well,
on the
look-
Discord later.
yep.
I thought Go West.
Yeah, I
was-
played it on the PS2.
I thought Go West was the name of a band.
I don't
It
know.
is.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I'm tired and old.
The more you know. The more you
But
know.
excellent pop
In a
music
squid
bear
hat.
dancing is still. The squid knows all. The brain squid.
You see
knows
this? It's full of
all.
knowledge.
That's
Yes,
where the
the
brain
squid had
cell
been
is stored.
Squiddy.
And ballast. Is it the ballast? I don't remember. I don't remember how squids work.
Sorry. Okay. Go ahead and roll your trait check.
Okay. Is that just the 2d6?
Yeah,
And then
2d6. If you don't like your roll, you can use traits to re-roll it.
see. I have rolled a 6.
Partial success. You're making progress, but there are complications. Maybe you're pushing too hard, maybe you're just unlucky. The danger decreases by 1, but there's also a cost. Gain 2 momentum or 1 damage. It's your choice, but you can't choose to gain momentum if the trait attached to the keeps is attached to a keepsake, if you've given away the ability touchstone, or if you roll without using a trait. So the GM may decide the narrative consequences, such as losing a fellow traveler's trust, replacing damage, or momentum gain. So, are you going to take a damage, gain momentum on your touchstones, making them that much harder to release? Or are you going to leave the consequences up to me?
I'm gonna take momentum on the bear's tooth and the signet ring.
Okay. 1 momentum each, then.
Yeah. The bear's tooth, because it comes across as vaguely threatening to all of these bears. And the signet ring, because it's a reminder of like my past involved with turning into a bear and the conflicted feelings around that.
Right. Momentum means to become more significant to you. So as you're interacting with these bears and such, the bear that you become, the bear inside of you, reacts to the bears around you, and like, yeah, no, these are my people. I'm having a good time here. What if, we never left? Being a bear isn't such a bad thing. I quite enjoy life. And with, the tooth and the signet ring both tied up so intimately with the berryness of your soul, gain 1 momentum each. Momentum is like significance to you, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Momentum is personal. And so once you've all finished dancing, getting snacks, or smoking your cigar, depending on what you're doing, or, contemplating life, the universe, and everything, Conductor Caddy Wumpus does pull the train whistle, which whistles a merry little tune, and people begin piling back on. I'm not going to whistle because I have found that if I do, it interacts badly with the microphone. So people begin to pile back onto the train. Maybe a few of the bears come with. Who knows? It's hard to tell.
No, it's a party train!
Party train!
We do already have a rave car, so
yeah.
Rave car with Troll DJ the Rave. And, maybe there's a new bear in the nap car, you're not sure.
Or was he there the whole time? We don't remember.
Was he there the whole time? Did any of the people from that car actually leave the nap car? We may never know.
Yeah, they did. They did.
True. Those two did leave the nap car. If any of the other people in the nap car left the nap car, we don't know. Or if we've added new people, it's kind of hard to tell. So we pull away from
We're kind of fuzzy on tickets on this version of the train.
Oh, you don't need tickets here. It's wonderful to have everyone along.
That was a grisly pun.
Who made the pun?
Chris did.
Okay, good. I'm trying not to. I was ticking through my speech going, which pun did I make? I didn't hear anything.
For once, it wasn't Merc.
Okay. So as we pull away from the state stop, the oasis falls behind us, and we are once again in the wildly colorful desert.
I'm going to roll for a stop.
Okay.
I don't have an idea in my head right now.
Roll 2d6 and tell me them in order. Whichever order you like.
6-2.
Okay. 6. Wait. That's super weird. Anyway, 6 and 2, you say?
Yes.
Okay. The train whizzes along for a while and then comes along to a small stop in a dusty town, which would be called basically just a stop water town. I forget exactly what they're called. It's basically just a place where trains stop to get more water. Nothing interesting happens here. Nothing. There's like it's not really even a town. It's mostly just a water tower and a couple of buildings for the people. It's not well maintained. The only reason it lives is because the trains come along regularly. But at this one, there is a larger building than you would expect to see at this kind of stop. And the sign over the door reads the Cobbler's Mausoleum. At the Cobbler's Mausoleum, long gloved docents invite visitors to walk a mile in someone else's shoes, boots, or clogs. Walking an unfamiliar path can unlock new vistas or invite captivating nostalgia. Either way, a poor fit can lead to nasty blisters. Visitors typically follow a marked path that leads from the Blackstone Mausoleum through a warren of caves where the docents cool their toasty pods in pools of liquid bronze. All records of donated footwear are kept in the mausoleum's nave, recorded in a chained book the size of an overstuffed sofa. Given enough time and a surfeit of muscle, a visitor could learn a great deal about the feats of the departed.
More puns!
So, you have pulled into the Blackstone store. It's not Blackstone. It's one of those dusty clapboard things, and you can see the trail markers leading out from the back of it. Okay. And so, Black Sword, you have to have a scene with the bearer of the curse. And Dark Spear and the bearer may take actions at this stop as they would at any normal stop. Because this is the demon's revelation. Looking towards the future.
I would do seize the opportunity.
Okay.
Drag bearer of the curse along with me.
Okay. So you see to interact with this stop. So it's a danger too. You're pulled into this clapboard building bearer by the Black Sword. Black Sword, how do you drag them? Are you actually dragging them? Are you leading them? Do you have a hand on their shoulder, on their arm, around their waist?
I'm not physically dragging them. I'm just using the emotional guilt trip. That works very, very well against someone who's much younger than I am.
Okay. So yes, the bearer of the curse follows you into the mausoleum, the self-labeled mausoleum, and it's, maybe it's a little bigger inside than you think it would be, especially for that giant sofa-sized book. But it's kind of hard to tell because the walls and it's like almost like a library, except it's just stacks and stacks of cubby holes where shoes are shoved in. Just shoes upon shoes, pumps, high heels, high-tech boots, moccasins, foot wraps, Roman sandals, every type of footwear under the sun that you can think of is here somewhere.
Rocket boots?
Rocket boots away. They're in a slightly larger cubby hole. They look rather scuffed and worn, not well cared for, as if the person who left them here didn't give a shit about them.
They're angsty teenager sized.
Totally, yep.
Hashtag Zoe reference.
Totally.
Hashtag OG. Hashtag original metaverse.
Yep. Masters of the metaverse. Okay.
On Tuesday,
what shoes do you take, each of you, if you're going to walk a mile?
Well, Black Sword takes his shoes off, and that's one of those moments of, because he doesn't have regular feet. From his knees down, he has cybernetic legs because of something that happened in the past. And so he wears very specific custom shoes for that work with his cybernetics. And he will end up offering those to the caretakers of the mausoleum.
They are very excited. They like custom shoes. They've never seen anything like yours.
Yeah. They've probably never seen the feet that go with them.
Nope, they haven't seen those either, but they're much less interested in feet than they are in shoes.
Yeah.
Oh my, I've never seen shoes like that. Would you care to walk a mile in someone else's?
If you can find a pair that will fit, sure.
Surprisingly enough, they do. I mean, they find a pair that fit over your feet and tie. Whether or not they're a good fit or a poor fit remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Bearer of the curse, will you also?
Yeah, why not? Let's go.
Okay, what shoes do you take?
Um, a pair that looks like unlike anything I would ever wear and probably clashes with my purple pants.
Okay.
Stilettos!
Those would look fabulous and you know it.
Yeah, no,
They're
what
yellow.
you grab are blocky hobnail boots in a rather odd shade of green. They're not like it's not quite Barney levels of bad clashing with your with your pants, but it's not a great match either. But they are blocky, probably a couple sizes too big, which is a feat for your feet. And but they do tie on, like they have straps. They tie on all the way up to the knee, basically. They're one of those kind of boots, you know. So you can strap them on pretty tightly. The shoes Black Sword is wearing now are not the ones he wore in, but they are almost Roman sandals, except instead of being made of leather, they seem to be made of like some kind of precious or semi-precious metal that literally clicks into place up around to mid shin, basically. And you start walking. The desert is beautiful. Like, even when it's not whizzing by at, a good 50 miles an hour, it's still lovely in that way that deserts have. They just are, they will be even after you are gone. You feel kind of small, but their unchangingness is also something of a comfort. Nothing you could do would ever really change what this is. I mean, that's the way it feels anyway. It's not true, but it's the way it feels. And soon enough, you do actually end up in a system of caves. The path dips down, starts doing switchbacks into a wide hole in the ground, and the air gets cooler as you descend. There are lanterns hung at the turn of every switchback. Once it gets past the point where you're beyond the shadow of the lip. And you eventually come out into a magnificent cavern filled with stalactites and stalagmites and pillars, which is what happens when the two meet. And it is well lit with many lanterns here and there, indirect lighting. And the roof is still very dark for some reason, like nothing's hung up there. Maybe it's because it's taller than you think it is. Maybe it's just because it's too much trouble to put stuff up there. Either way. There is a pool where you can cool your feet if your feet are hurting after walking an entire mile in shoes that aren't yours. Do your feet hurt?
Yeah.
Mine don't.
Sit
Are they still
down, take
functional?
off the shoes, and I'm like, I did not. I expected some sort of emotional journey, not just pain from wearing ill-fitting shoes.
Should have picked mine.
Perhaps.
So you can sit and rest your feet in there. And maybe you learned something from the shoes, maybe you didn't. Maybe all the shoe mausoleum claptrap is just that claptrap. Maybe some other people do get, massive emotional catharsis from shoes. But
I learned that bears do not usually wear shoes.
so you have a moment in the cave. As the bearer of the curse is cooling their feet, and Black Sword, are you seeing if yours are going to get repair or anything like that, or something else?
Oh, I'll check and make sure that nothing's damaged. If need be, I will get out the toolkit and do minor repairs.
Minor repairs are kind of required. Not necessarily because the shoes were a bad fit, because honestly, they're a pretty decently good fit, which is surprising. It really is, given that your feet need custom fits. but just walking in the desert wearing sandals with a bunch of gaps in your plating, not a great idea. It's like picking out a horse's hooves. You got to get all the little pedal shit out of there. So, as the demon, you are trying to encourage the seeker to move forward, to look ahead, to leave their past behind.
You know we're going to Cerebos.
Yes.
You know you're the one who will make it to Cerebos of us. Are you ready for what that means?
The only way to find out is to get there.
It's okay to look back. It's
Of
okay to
course.
remember where you come from, but it's okay to let go. Let go of the things that shaped you. Things that, at that point, he'll wrap one of his tools on his leg, and you hear the clink of metal on metal of the events that altered the course of your life. But that course is still something that you have control over. You can still choose to do whatever you want to do. You can become whoever you want to become. You are not limited by your afflictions and your past choices.
I'm going to like take the lighter out intentionally this time and consider what it means to me. And yeah, I consider it quietly for a moment and I put it back in my pocket and I'm like, but I'm still holding it. And I'm like, you may be right. But on the other hand, even moving on from the things that have shaped me doesn't get rid of them. And they still have shaped me. I don't think forgetting where I've been is necessarily the right course of action.
No, you don't want to forget who you are. That would defeat the purpose of growth. Becoming a brand new thing without remembering what you were before, unhelpful. You have to be able to hold on to the past while embracing the future. But you can't let the past define you. You can't let it shackle you to what you're going to become.
I think you're right. I'm going to take the lighter back out of my pocket. May I take my turn to release a touchstone?
Yes, you may.
What do I roll for
Roll
that?
2d6 and you cannot use traits on this roll.
Okay. That's a 9.
7 to 9, ugly break. You get rid of the touchstone as above, but gain 1 momentum on a different touchstone. If this is your final touchstone, get rid of it and take 1 damage. So
Okay.
It's hard letting go. It is one of the hardest things you've ever done. The lighter, such a formative moment when you were young. That lighter was such a big and important part of it. It's the only part of your town that you really kept with you. You've never been back. You never, you never spoke to your family again. Your shitheaded friends never really, granted, you would probably have drifted apart afterwards. Maybe you're just become one of the circle of people who just drank together on their porches. But your shitheaded friends never, you never reached out to them again. They never tried to find you. You've never seen them since. This is the last thing you have from that time. It's a significant reminder of what happened to you on that night, so drastically change your life. And letting it go is one of the hardest things you've ever done. But you do manage it.
I just leave it on the side of the pool.
Yes, you can do that. It sits there in lone splendor. The sigil on the side is so worn you can't see what it is anymore. It reflects dully the lamplight. And while you are tempted to pick it up again and put it back in your pocket, you hold on to your signet ring or bear's tooth for the momentum.
Bear's tooth.
You hold on to your bear's tooth and you pull your feet out of the pool, dry off with some helpfully, some discreetly provided towels sitting in like a hollowed out area between a couple of stalagmites nearby, and dry your feet off.
I'm gonna throw the borrowed shoes over my shoulder because I'm not wearing them back.
Okay. So, yep, you head back up to the mausoleum. The stone of the switchbacks and the caves is cooling with your feet, but the sand is very hot. Not so hot that you can't bear it, but it does. But it is very, very hot. It is, however, pretty free of stones and cacti and other things you'd expect to find in the desert. Looking around, do you think that this stretch of about 5 to 8 yards wide is maintained by the mausoleum people? Because you suspect that you're not the first person to come back walking, carrying your shoes rather than walking with them. So, you get back to the mausoleum and you return your borrowed shoes. And the dark spear. What are you doing at the stop?
I had an idea, and then I forgot it.
Oh, do you need to roll to reduce danger?
Yeah, go ahead and roll.
Okay. I rolled a 5.
Setback. You do not succeed. Take a damage.
Cool. I like damage.
Yep, your robotic feet did not react well to being out in the hot sun, and yeah, you need your special shoes or they get damaged.
Can I also try to release a touchstone?
Yes, you may.
Okay. I am going to. I guess she's not going into the mausoleum, even though that is just such a fun idea. And I think she's gonna take out like her. She has a tin of breath mints, the trait of which is polite. Which I don't know that I've really been role playing that well. But anyway, she takes that out and kind of. There's maybe a small table with some chairs that she's sitting at just to like be not sitting on the train.
Right. Yeah, there's an outdoor kind of food place that you feel like it doesn't get very many customers except when a train comes by, but it is maintained for the train customers.
Yeah. So yeah, I think she just leaves her little tin of breath mints on the table, or tries to. Depends on how high I roll or how low. This is roll low, right?
Roll low, yeah.
This system only requires the use of 2d6s. Mostly it's roll high, except for this, and it's roll 2d6.
Yep, 2d6, add them together.
Ugh, 7.
Ugly break. You get rid of the touchstone as above, but gain 1 momentum on a different touchstone. So, what part of your life do the breath mints represent?
I suppose when I went to work in the high fashion house, I couldn't just speak my mind like I did with the jerk I was working with, or the stodgy old man I was working with before. Because being polite was the difference between, continuing to make thousands of dollars per commission or getting fired entirely again. So, yeah.
So the tin has a logo on the top. I think it's a little tin type. It's a logo of the design house. They were some of the swanky types who had their own logo and whatever, and they would hand them out to people. Recommend us to your friends or whatever. And this is one of those little tin boxes. It's got the logo of the design house in the top, and you set it down. You look at it, and you remember the fast-paced. At first, it was wonderful because you could finally, do as much as you wanted and you were getting paid enough that you could take time off outside of work to relax. Like you didn't have to worry outside of work about how you're going to buy food or how you're going to afford rent. You didn't have to worry about that, and time outside of work became much easier for you. But work started to creep longer, longer hours. I mean, this money was still good, but it was so much stress. People were on to get dresses done faster, embroidery done faster. Do more, do this, do that. You taken to carrying antacids alongside the breath mints inside of that when you refilled it, because they hand them out to employees too, so you can just say, oh yeah, I work here, but you'd refilled a couple times, and eventually you started taking to refilling it with antacids, and that's actually what they're in there now, not mints, because it was originally a breath mint tin, but eventually the stress of the dog got to be so much, and just looking at it just reminds you of that hectic time. And it wasn't all bad, and it wasn't all good. And while you wouldn't go back to it, you do kind of miss it sometimes, Slowing down is hard when you've been going full speed ahead for so long. Slowing down, breaking the habit of going full speed ahead is hard. And so is leaving behind that tin box, because it means leaving behind that time when you had a purpose, a driving purpose to do. But you manage it. Your scissors are a comfort in the, you're a comforting weight in your pocket.
I figured those are the ones that get the momentum.
Yeah, I know it's, are a comforting weight in your pocket, reminding you that, it didn't always have to be that way, and there was worth in doing things a little slower too.
Okay, it's 10:17.
Yep, and we are 15 minutes late but it's time for the epilogue roll, because as the train pulls away, that's the last stop. The demon had their say, the saint had their say, and as the train pulls away, you see crystalline spires rising in the distance. It is the city of Cerebos. And I shouldn't say that the saint and the demon don't make it to Cerebos. Depending on the epilogue roll, maybe they won't, maybe they will. But it's what you're looking for isn't there. Whatever your goal was, whatever your hopes, your dreams, they won't find fulfillment in Cerebos. That's not the last stop on your journey. Here are your goals.
Yep.
But what you're looking for is not in Cerebos.
Even in Cerebos, I must keep working.
Well, you won't find what it takes to relax, at least. So, epilogue rolls. Endgame, here we go. So, we'll go to the Saints and Demons first. Roll 2d6 and add them together.
Is this another roll low or roll high?
You two are trying to roll high.
Okay.
Do I add my contemplation to this, or
Um,
I forget what contemplation does for this roll?
Add 1d6 for each point of unspent momentum. Add together the two lowest results. Each point in contemplation adds 1 to the total.
Okay, so let me check that. Do I have momentum? I
What?
do not have momentum.
Where do I add the momentum?
So momentum gets you an extra d6.
Oh.
And you add the two lowest together.
Okay. Because I rolled a 4, so I would like to add another d6.
Sorry, say it again.
I have a 12. I rolled a 6 and a 5, and I've got 1 contemplation on me.
Okay. You rolled a 6 and a 5 and got 1. Okay. And Chris needs to roll 1 more d6 at least.
Yes, there we go.
If you have any more momentum, that you can also.
I didn't have any momentum.
Okay. Chris, did you only have. How many momentum did you have?
I only had 1.
Okay. So.
But I still have to add the 2 lower ones?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so that doesn't do anything. Roll a 6 on the third one, but I still only have a 4.
Okay. As the train pulls toward Cerebos, actually, let's roll the Seeker first. And then,
We'll epilogue everyone at once.
yeah, basically.
I'm rolling 2d6 and adding them as well.
For the epilogue roll, start with 2d6, but add 1d6 for each point of momentum. Add together the 2 highest results and subtract 2 from the final roll for each point of contemplation, which I don't think you have any.
Gotta find.
Whether your companion stood or fell, you've made it. After the saints and demons have handled their epilogues, it's time for the main event. Is Cerebos what you're looking for all along? Can you reconcile your inner voice with the wicked world? It's time to find out.
I add the 2 highest?
Yes, and add 1d6 for each point of momentum.
And,
okay. Yeah, that's what I...
Seeker want to roll high or low?
Seeker wants to roll low.
Ah, okay.
Okay. That's an 8.
Okay. So, as the train pulls toward Cerebos, the Black Sword is back in the caboose. This time he's seated by the table with the top hat and the tea set, but he's still just smoking his cigar. The journey was hard. It was long, but it wasn't bad. He learned a lot along the way. Maybe he didn't make himself a better person, but the trip was worth it. For 12 plus, contentment. Huh, you're actually in a good place. It's not half bad. This journey was good for you. Next time you'll be the hero for sure. So what you're looking for isn't in Cerebos, but it wasn't a bad trip, and Cerebos holds no terrors for you. It's a city, like many others. Beautiful to be sure, but not your final destination. Perhaps you should take the train again. As for the Dark Spear, as we approach the city of Cerebos, you rolled a 4.
Yep.
So, as we approach Cerebos, you stand at the window of one of the passenger cars. Actually, you're standing on one of the connections between cars, and you're looking out at the desert. The beautiful desert. You can see the city too. Like we're coming around in a wide curve, so you can kind of see the city as we come around to the. But Cerebos isn't for you. Your body falls away. Your final breath floats up into the haze that surrounds the shining walls. Once a month, early in the morning, the haze flows through the streets in a thick river of mist. Children and the weak-willed are discouraged from breathing it in, while mystics and artists have made it an inspirational rite. Cerebos isn't for you. Your rest isn't here, and what you were searching for, you'll never find. You have become one with the mist around outside Cerebos, and there is nothing left of you as the train enters the city.
Oh, yikes. Oof.
Part of the legend, then.
The bearer of the curse, he rolled an 8.
Yes.
Building success. Though the you who left the city by the sea remains, but continues along the path of lasting growth. A major element of your past continues to hinder you, but you can add a major twist. Maybe you delay a reckoning until you've mastered new knowledge, or you're able to share an unshakable burden with a new friend. So, Cerebos, you were looking for the witch. You're looking to buy her a cup of coffee. And while you're sure the witch is in the city, other people do confirm it. And you remember that whatever language she was yelling at you at, you didn't speak. And you're pretty sure that the language barrier might become insurmountable if you actually did find her immediately. The city is beautiful. The rising spires are made of a very glittery kind of crystal, which brings the light down into the streets that would otherwise be shaded and dark. You suspect that at night the city takes advantage of this from the various spotlights placed around the place to continue using the reflection of the crystal to its highest advantage. But the witch is here. You are here. You're just not sure you're ready to face her just yet. Whether it's because you're not sure you speak her language, or whether you're not sure that you're not, that she would see anything beyond the teenage shithead you were. She's here, you're here, and in the future, maybe you will be able to take that step. Maybe you will be able to take her out for coffee and see, Perhaps you want to get rid of the curse. Perhaps you just want to apologize. Either way, it's in your future, but the future isn't now. And we pull back. The camera pulls away from the bearer of the curse as they walk through the city, and the Black Sword as he sits on the train waiting for it to take it away to its next destination. And from the haze that rests around the walls, and we pull back up until Cerebos is simply a glittering spot in the beautiful painted desert, and up into the clouds. That was Cerebos, the Crystal City.
Woohoo!
Also, what makes you feel any better, Chris? Last time Dracus rolled poorly and became a pillar of salt. So
This is true.
not everyone
Just like in the desert outside the city. I didn't even like make it on the
This is
train.
one wacky game show.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay. Well, thank you, chat, for hanging out with us for tonight's interesting, chill tabletop game of communal storytelling. We ran a bit late, but we started a bit late. Well, we always start a bit late. But I really need to go to bed, I think.
Yeah.
Or
Sorry to
something
you, Chris.
for which I don't have to be awake. But yeah, so this is Magic Fish Radio. We stream tabletop RPGs on Tuesdays and Saturday nights. Tuesdays is Vampire the Masquerade V5 set in the roaring 1920s. On Saturday, we alternate between indie one-shots of indie RPGs. And next week, I am running Exit to Eden, which is NWAD in space. And it's ridiculous. Yeah. Last week, I forcibly reminded my players that Worlds of Darkness are technically horror games.
Yeah.
So they're in a
I
bit
think
of
we're
a
in a lot
pickle.
of trouble.
They're all stuck in a haunted pickle.
Yeah, no shit.
And
I
since
have
far
no little of the danger we're in.
And the fun part of one of the parts I find fun about far-flung future settings is, 2,000 years ago, totally different technology is now ancient, but was still technology, and it's just fun. But also there's a lot of bad stuff going on where they are. Lol.
Yeah.
So I run that game. I run this whole channel. I run all the producer stuff here, and
Appreciates you.
yes. So if you're talking to Magic Fish Radio on social media, you're talking to me. So follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Discord. We're also looking for new players for Tuesday Night Vampire game. And we are, again, this indie RPG night, we would be totally cool with having guest GMs run games that they wrote or modules that they wrote. If you're
Or guest players. We can also use guest players.
And guest players. So yeah, we've run Fat Magic last summer. Zardoz has run some stuff. Merc comes in once in a while with Cerebos, which is quickly becoming a favorite. And I lost my train of thought again. But yeah, so if you are an indie TTRPG writer, developer, contributor, artist, fan, if you've written your own modules, chat with us on Discord, and, you could run this as long as you don't mind getting paid. As long as you don't mind not getting paid for it, because unfortunately we have no income to do that with. So, but if we didn't, let people do buy-ins with channel points, there would be no buy-ins at all. So, meh. When your train of thought goes off the rails. Yeah, it's been that. I'm a ghost made of angry bees? Maybe.
That sounds like next Saturday.
Oh, yes. Was that one of the... Well, if you didn't purchase that NPC yet, Fadier, feel free to do it next Saturday. Because Magoths are fun. Well, fun for the GM. So yeah, I also do another game where I only have to play and don't have to run the OBS on Thursday nights on We Are Nerdsmiths Twitch channel, where I get to play a dumbass barbarian tabaxi, and I didn't think a tabaxi barbarian would be this much fun of a build, but wow. Rage plus zoomies plus Path of the Wild equals extra teleporting. It's just so fun to play a dumb character as a smart player. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so that's me. So I'm gonna go look for someone to raid. So everyone else do outros. Let's start with Merc.
Yep. Hi, I'm Merc. I was Conductor Caddy Wumpus this evening, and while he didn't get as much screen time as perhaps was other people might have wanted, you know, he was there when the party needed him.
Blank.
I don't do really anything beyond this, as far as social medias wise. You know, I'm on the Discords like all the time. But on Monday nights, I watch The Reliables on Zombie Orpheus, the Zombie Orpheus Twitch, twitch.tv/Zombie Orpheus, all one word. It's fun. It's a party. And like that, yes. Passing it on to Drac.
Hi, I'm Dracus. I have been playing the Bearer of the Curse this evening, who was based off of, in case you were curious, originally here, Bodvar Bjarki from Hrolf Kraki's saga, because that's how I spent my week. Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories from the Icelandic tradition. Highly recommend it if you have time. Anyway, I'm here on Saturdays and Tuesdays, and I'm on our Discord pretty frequently, and I do some other stuff sometimes, so check it out.
I am Zardoz, at Once and Future Doctor on Twitter. I also run Duffelbag Full of Zombies Press. I make role-playing games and role-playing game supplements. If you can find my Twitter, you can find my shop.
Oh, and you can find VODs of all of our one-shots, whether we wrote them or not, and all that fun stuff on... Well, we keep VODs on Twitch, but Twitch somehow managed to make ads worse than on YouTube, so they're also on YouTube, where by some strange happenstance, the ads are less obnoxious. How did you screw this up, Twitch? Anyway, we are going to... Huh?
Just want to plug one more thing. The Cerebos, the Crystal City, is by Penguin King Games and can be bought on penguinKingGames.itch.io.
Yes. Yes, it is a fun game. Like we've said, like the full version is a one shot, but one that takes 8 hours. 8 very satisfying hours, but our slot is 3 hours, so
yeah,
we found workarounds that are still quite fun. So we turned a banquet into a coffee date, but it's still a good coffee date. So we are going to raid Chimichangas!
Yeah. Raiding chimichangas.
I wish. I don't know if I can eat those anymore.
I mean...
Spoony problems suck. Anyway, we are going to raid the Dice Cult, who are running Vampire the Masquerade. Okay. Yeah, I did the raid thing right again. So chat, thanks for hanging out with us, whether live or in the future via VOD. Either way, I hope we see you again soon. I hope you see us again soon. I hope we provided adequate distractions for this very awful week. And, yeah, until we see you next time, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and
yes, I did make my own hat.
Yes, get yourself a squid hat. They're awesome. Bye!